record high, according to a survey from the American Farm Bureau Federation. This year's cookout cost is the second highest on record, following last year's record-setting number. The cookout includes 12 staple items: hamburger buns, beef, and potato salad. Those prices were all up this year, while chicken breast lemonade and chocolate chip cookies saw price drop. Cases of avian flu, which swept through the country earlier this year, have fallen, given the chicken population time to recover. The biggest drop in prices for lemonade, down 16%. Aaron Real, NBC News Radio.
Casper asked me if I wanted to have lunch with him today, but I looked in his brown bag, and this is what he packed.
Chicken breast lemonade and chocolate chip cookies.
I'll pass. For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
In the wake of last night's severe weather, this morning will start off very quiet, as we'll have a little bit of fog and temperatures hanging out in the 60s. Later on this, mostly clear tonight as temperatures dip to the low 60s. More sunshine for tomorrow and highs once again in the mid 80s. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
Service Master of Chippewa Valley is your local expert when it comes to fire and water damage, carpet and air duct cleaning, mold remediation, and trauma. They're when you need them, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Trust comes in the yellow truck. Learn more at ServiceMasterChippewaValley.com.
Shop the final days of July 4th savings now at Lowe's. Right now, get savings on top tools from DeWalt. Lowe's knows July 4th savings. Lowe's knows home improvement.
Welcome to the Dan Kasper Show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's the show that features serious, thought-provoking sports talk and insightful sports commentary.
You knew it!
In other words, it's the show where they all talk a crap load about sports.
Let's go for it!
Now let's introduce your host, a man who lives and breathes and has a passion for sports. A man who breaks everything down in the sports world and gives you everything you need to know. Plus a bunch of stuff you probably don't need, but you'll still enjoy it.
You can't handle the truth!
Here is your host, Dan Kasper.
Prime time! Prime time!
What up, everybody? Good morning. Happy Thursday. Dan Kasper Show on the air. Appreciate you all tuning in, however, wherever you may be tuning in on this fine, thirsty Thursday morning of June 29th. Appreciate you all making us a part of your start if you're up and at it already here this morning. Oh, man, what do we got on the game plan here for this morning? What are we going to get to here? We got a lot of baseball talk coming at you. Brewers picking up the W last night against the Mets. 5-2, they'll try to get the series win tonight. Again, 6-10 before they head off on the road again for a weekend series against the Pirates of Pittsburgh. But 5-2 victory for the Crew last night. Christian Yelich having himself a good night. 3 hits, boosting his average up to a 277, baby. OPS of an 807 as well. We're going to hit that up. We're going to talk a little bit about Yelich and kind of where his ranks are in the National League and such. Maybe kind of quietly, making a case here that he should be an all-star. Should he be an all-star? Should he be heading to Seattle for the all-star game? Looking at some of his numbers, he's got a pretty good case for there. So, but Wade Miley, no decision for him, going just 4 innings, 2 earned runs. Wilson picking up the win for the Crew, but Devin Williams, who might be the for sure lock for the Brewers, for a Brewers representative to head to Seattle for the All-Star game, picking up his 15th save of the season, lowering his ERA to a 1.63, getting a couple strikeouts in the game last night. So tonight we'll see Adrian Hauser on the mound for the Crew, battling it out with Max Scherzer for the series win. Even with the win, Cincinnati picked up the win last night against Baltimore too, so the Brewers still remaining a half a game behind the Reds for first place. But remember, after tonight's game, we'll be halfway through the season for the Brewers. We'll be at that halfway mark already. It's already halfway done in the books this 2023 season. So we'll see where their record's going to be when we hit that up tomorrow morning. Elsewhere in baseball, perhaps the biggest story in sports right now, we saw the 24th perfect game in Major League Baseball history last night. Domingo Germán for the Yankees pitching a perfect game against the Oakland A's, but got it done last night, and it's the first one since 2012. First one since 2012. So you're talking almost 11 years, because it was August of 2012. And now, remember 2012? I vaguely remember this a little bit here, but 2012 is when we had three perfect games that year. Man. And now we go almost 11 years later and finally get another one. But yeah, can anybody name them? I'll throw out a little bit of a trivia question here early this morning. Can you name the three pitchers who had a perfect game in 2012? Two of them you might know a little bit more, but I don't know if you get the other one there. Hats off, without looking it up. Okay, without trying to look it up. But hey, perfect game, and I think it's a good time to have a little conversation. We talked about it a couple weeks ago with the U.S. Open, and you're going up to the 18th tee. You're up by one. Rory is the leader in the clubhouse, behind you by just one. He's waiting on you, and everybody in the world is staring down at you, whether they're on the fairway or around the tee box or around the putting green. You want to talk about pressure situations? How about a perfect game going up there? You got a perfect game going. And try not to screw it up as a pitcher. How about try not to screw it up as an infielder fielding a ground ball or something like that? I want to talk a little bit about some of the, what do you think is the most nerve-wracking for you personally? What would be the most nerve-wracking sports situation to be in? Is it pitching in a perfect game with that final out, that last batter up there? Maybe it's being that position player, in case you get a bad hop over at the hot corner or something like that. Is it teeing off on the 18th hole at the U.S. Open with one of the best in the game, breathing down your neck, and everybody's staring at you? Is it a 55-yard field goal to win the Super Bowl in the elements, outside, or go to the Super Bowl, whatever? Is it a free throw? You hit the free throw, you win it or lose it. Maybe, I guess in basketball, it'd be okay, to tie it or maybe to win it. The free throw with everybody watching or something like that. What would be that? What do you think is the most pressure-packed, nervous Nelly type of sports situation out there, huh? Let's come up with let's see what the listeners out there kind of have for us in store. So you can hit us up, Twitter at DANKSPER, Facebook.com/Kasper Sports, or the video stream, which is also up and rolling here this morning. Shoe Doctor's bullpen line with a quick text at 715-830-1912. We'll throw a little hoops talk in here. Milwaukee Bucks with free agency set to begin tomorrow. The rumor mill out there, according to, I believe it was Mark Stein. Let me just bring it up just so I can give the proper credit here. But the rumor mill out there that the Bucks are expected to retain Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez, and Jay Crowder. At least that's the thoughts out there. Is according to the latest rumor mill out there surrounding the Bucks, is that that's the league-wide expectation that the Bucks will retain Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton, and Jay Crowder out there. So, essentially running it back, right? Yeah, this was from Mark Stein. League sources say that Milwaukee is indeed in a promising position when it comes to re-signing both Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez. The Bucks are increasingly expected to re-sign Jay Crowder after surrendering 5 second-round picks to acquire him from Phoenix before the February trade deadline. So, good with the Bucks bringing all three back? Would you like them to maybe save some money and address situations elsewhere? What do you think? What's your thoughts on that? Let us know there too. It is U.S. Senior Open. Anybody heading over? I know a couple of you are heading on over to Stevens Point for the first round of the U.S. Senior Open, which tees off today and such. So don't forget to kind of be our reporters on the ground or contributors on the ground, if you will. Send some pics and such and stuff over there. So we'll maybe make some picks for that U.S. Senior Open, which is at Century World in Stevens Point. I'll just tell you right now, my pick. Come on, I'm riding with the hot man right now, Steve Stricker, for crying out loud. I'm going with Steve Stricker there. So, but if anybody else wants to make some picks, you can do so there. We got some outdoor tidbits. Jake Bolks, our conservation warden buddy, is actually going to be in studio later on this morning with the 4th of July holiday coming up here. So if you have any outdoor DNR questions for Jake, now is the time to text those puppies on over on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. So get them in now before it's too late. All right, so we can pass those along to Jake and such. So get them on over. No question is a stupid question. What else we got? We got a little receiver defer. We'll hit up around 7:45. The Express fell last night to the Cats of Thunder Bay, so they are now one game behind Thunder Bay for first place in the division, but Duluth now also just one game behind for first place in the division. And you look at the upcoming schedule here, and Rochester's not far behind either. The Express still have another game against Thunder Bay tonight. Then they got Duluth tomorrow and Saturday, and then Rochester Sunday and Monday, and then Thunder Bay again Tuesday and Wednesday. But the first half wrapping up here in just a few days here. So we'll see if the Express can clinch up that first half for first place in the first half and clinch that playoff spot there. So, but let's get things going here this morning, huh? Let's get her going. Let's talk a little baseball here. We're going to throw in some Brewers chat here. We're going to talk a little Christian Yelich and the season that he has been having and the role, role he's been on. I mean, probably call him Butter because he's always on a roll right now. But we'll throw in a little Christian Yelich chat in here. Take a look at tonight's matchup. Scherzer, Hauser going on the mound for their respective teams. And then got a perfect game last night. First one says 2012. I threw out that question. Try not to look it up. Can you name the 3 pitchers in 2012? We had 3 in 2012 that threw perfect games out there. But Yankees now broke a tie with the White Sox for the most in Major League Baseball history. What do you think is the most pressure-packed, nervous Nelly sports situation out there? Is it being a pitcher in that perfect game scenario? Is it being a position player in that scenario in case you get a hot grounder? Is it field goal kicker, time expired, elements, 55 yards to win it, teeing off on the 18th at the U.S. Open, holding on to a one-stroke lead, all eyes on you at the free throw line? What do you got? All right, what do you think? What would be your pick? There's no right answer in this, right? There's no right answer in this, but what would be your pick? So hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, video stream, and on the texting line, Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, 715-830-1912. So let's get things rolling. We'll take our first break, and then the leadoff. We got Brewers chat. We've got baseball chats coming up here. Join the convo with us, all right? Want to hear from you this thirsty Thursday morning. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union, the local Wisconsin team that's always rooting for you. Brewers Baseball Academy, presented by Fleet Farm, returns to cities this summer for its 11th year. Kids ages 6 to 14 are invited for a week of instruction and fun, plus a VIP day at American Family Field. Space is limited. Don't miss out. Visit brewers.com/camps for details. UW Credit Union, here for every you. Join today.
Now that you've gotten a few rounds of golf in, either for fun or for league, Let me ask you, how's your back feeling? Or what about those weekend-long softball tournaments? How are you feeling when you show up to work on Monday mornings? Been there. You're limping around and it's difficult to even get out of bed or your office chair. Well, stop limping around and complaining about that pain you have and do something about it. Make your appointment right now with Shepke Chiropractic. Shepke Chiropractic's goal is to work with each patient to achieve their goals and perform to their fullest potential in the capacity that their life requires. So if you're dealing with some back pain from all those extracurricular activities like golfing or playing ball, or because of all those home projects that you're working on, help relieve that back pain by making your appointment with Dr. Logan Shepke. Plus, they have 2 locations to help better serve you. Your journey to a healthier, more fulfilling life starts here at Shepke Chiropractic. Make your appointment today at one of their 2 locations by visiting ShepkeChiropractic.com. That's ShepkeChiropractic.com.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of insane out there. In roller derby, it's not a game, it's a bout. And each jam is filled with insane drive blocks and rushing soul crushes that rip shivers through your toe stops. Pace line, pivot line, jam a grand slam, whip a scoring pass, or you're down with rink rash. Yeah, there's a whole lot of insane out there. And every Wisconsin roller derby girl knows to be insanely good on the flat track, you can't be insanely drunk. And if you can't be drunk on those wheels, you'd be super insane to roll drunk on your car's wheels. So take it from Wisconsin's best jammers, blockers, and pivots. When it comes to driving,
drive sober on the road, no matter how many wheels you roll.
Because you can't let the pack with an OWI riding your back. So ladies and guys, drive sober or get pulled over. And let's reduce fatalities on Wisconsin roadways. Download the free Drive Sober app with a Find a Ride feature, awesome videos, and more at witrafficsafety.org.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Transportation.
Hi, this is Josh Smith from Union Trailer and Power Equipment. Looking to upgrade your mower this year? Now is the time to upgrade, as we have a large selection of Aaron's and Graylee's zero-turn mowers in stock with some great sale prices, along with 0% for 48 months or large cash discount. Get into a new Aaron zero-turn mower for as little as $92 a month with no money down. Don't forget about our free delivery within 20 miles of Union Trailer and Power Equipment, located right in the Chippewa Valley. As the only steel elite dealer in the area, we have a gold certified tech to work on all the steel chainsaws, backpack blowers, string trimmers, and any other 2-cycle engine issues you may have. Give us a call today at 715-930-1066. We've expanded our rental department this year. We'll be renting on many different trailer options with skid steers and mini excavators as well. Give our rental department a call today to schedule your next rental. Union Trailer and Power Equipment, a local family-owned business located right in the Chippewa Valley off Highway 53 at the Melby Street exit. Visit us online at uniontrailer.com.
Quality products, expert service, Union Trailer Sales.
This is Scott Pasak, owner of Kofak Chevrolet. We have a fantastic selection of vehicles in stock, and if you don't see what you're looking for, we will find it for you. We strive to provide an excellent customer experience, so stop in and see what makes Kofak Chevrolet different. Visit both of our lots in downtown Colfax, and for a buying experience completely online, visit KolfaxChev.com. It's always a fantastic day at Kofak Chevrolet.
There aren't many people as sports smart as he is, so he tries to use tiny words so people like me can easily follow along.
That doesn't make sense.
The Dan Kasper Show. Got to give a special shout out to the Milwaukee Brewers. They sent over a package for the Kasper Classic for raffles, which includes 2 autographed items potentially for you to win. One's in the studio hanging up right now. An autographed Willie Adames jersey and an autographed Bryce Terang baseball and a couple of other items over there too. So thanks to the Brewers and for sending that package on over for everybody to potentially win at the Kasper Classic, along with the Packers for sending over their package as well. So
Big thanks. We're going to have some pretty cool items up for raffle. So if you haven't gotten your team signed up yet for the 3rd annual Classic, which is going to be on August 4th at gorgeous Princeton Valley, you better head to our website, sportstalk1051.com right now to sign up. Sign up your team for $90, 2-person team. You get your round of golf, your cart, your free meal provided by our good friends from Hy-Vee, and drink tickets, 3 free drink tickets per person. That's 6 total over there. And then also yesterday, the championship belts came in too. So we got those posted up if you want to take a gander at that. We got 2 of them, so you don't have to fight over with your partner who gets to keep it up in the man cave. Each person gets their own title belt. So it was a good mail day yesterday, getting those items in. And then the wiener putter shows up.
Well, it's a U.S. channel. It's a Senior Open starting today in Stevens Point.
Are you going over there at all?
I wish I could. Yeah. I don't have time, but
you're repping Wisconsin there though. So boy.
I'd love to. I'd love to be over there and watch it. Steve Stricker, Jerry Kelly from our area, and see what those guys think. It's a course none of them have ever played before.
Mm-hmm.
This is new to those guys. So they got some practice rounds in, and I'd love to hear what they say about the atmosphere, about the golf course. And I've seen some pictures on TV, and the flowers on, 16, the par 3, are just magnificent. I mean, you won't see a hole like that. I don't care how much senior golf you watch, PGA golf you watch, the LPGA, you won't see a hole like that. It's unique.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. If you haven't seen it, I've seen it. You've seen it.
Yeah,
but it's definitely unique, and wish I knew how to keep flowers alive that long like they do over there.
Well, they got a little more expertise available than you and I have.
Talking about?
Yeah, man, oh man. Water goes a long way.
But again, big thanks. It's hanging up right there. Don't let Bob kind of peruse it around over there. It's the pinstripe Willie Adamas jersey too.
Oh,
so
good. Now we get Willie to start hitting a little better. It'd be worth that much more. But the Brewers won last night. Our boy Christian Yelich, who we said, if he can raise his average and do a few more things, it'll help the Brewers. And he kind of broke that game open. 2 outs, runners on base. They haven't been able to get 2-out hits. He got a hit and drove in 2, took it up to 5-2, and kind of dismantled the Mets again yesterday.
Sure did. Yelly so far on this season. We were going to chat a little bit about him to open up things. He's hitting 277. His OPS is an 807 right now. Collected 3 hits last night. If you want to look at some other numbers in terms of where he ranks across the National League right now, over his past 20 games, Yelich is hitting 355 with 14 runs scored, 12 extra base hits, 12 walks, 11 RBIs. His 2.5 wins above replacement this season is 6th best among National League outfielders. His 121, he ranks in the 95th percentile in average exit velocity, and is in the 96th percentile in hard hit percentage, according to StatCast, which is the new thing in baseball these last few years. Yelich also has a 444 on base percentage in the first inning, including he had a double last night over there too. In his first plate appearance of his 58 games batting leadoff, Yelich is hitting 380 with 8 extra base hits, 7 walks, and then defensively too. He's having one of his best defensive seasons. His 4 outs above average is a dramatic improvement from last year's -5. So I mean, he's making a case maybe for another Gold Glove to his roster. He was a finalist last year, so which I know surprised a lot of people. But maybe he adds another Gold Glove to his trophy case, and maybe he'll add another All-Star appearance to his case right now. Probably not going to be in as a voted one, but maybe the managers and such can get him in over to Seattle. So.
And if you watch the game last night, I know at least one of his hits, and I think it was a big one that drove in 2, I believe. I was watching the game, and 3 hits kind of run together. But a ball up the middle, just to the right of second base. If the shift had been on, it's a slow ground ball to the shortstop or third baseman or whoever's playing on the other side of second base. Without the shift, that adds a hit to his resume, and it helps the average. And that's what we speculated, that he would have a benefit and a lot of other guys, but especially because he pulls the ball so much. He sprays it to all fields when he has to, like he had a double down the left field line, or a single down the left field line. But he pulls that ball more often than not between first and second. And without those guys standing there like a picket fence, those balls get through.
So, are you satisfied with his play?
Absolutely.
This year? Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I'm satisfied with the improvement.
Mm-hmm.
You always want to see him do better, but I'm very satisfied with how he's doing. And that's the speculation we had. You and I both talked about it before the season started, that he was going to have a better year, and it was going to be, in part at least, because of this shift getting thrown out.
Last 108 games, he's hitting 306 on there. Obviously, I know some people will still point out the home run ball that's down from those 2 years there, but that's, I think, kind of proven to be more of a, I don't want to say fluke, but like even Wade Miley said last night, those were video game numbers that he did in those 2 years, and it helped him get a big contract. There's no doubt about it. But how much kind of credit though do you give to Craig Counsell for deciding to put Christian Yelich, was it last year, at that leadoff spot, changing it up a little bit?
It's working this year. It hasn't. I am kind of still lukewarm. I like to see the best hitters get up as often as they can in the game, and obviously Yelich this year is proving that he's one of the better hitters, and he's so talented he could hit out of any position in the batting order.
Yeah, you look at
I just think third is where a guy like that should be, but it's working at the leadoff spot, and Counsell's a manager, so he has that decision, so I can't argue with it.
Team leader in average, team leader in runs scored, team leader in runs batted in, Christian Yelich. Team leader in stolen bases, Christian Yelich. The RBI one kind of just surprised me there when I was just looking that up there too. So,
yeah, and when he's the leadoff hitter,
nobody else.
When he's but when he's coming up to bat in the middle of the game, who's he following? 6, 7, 8, 9 hitters. And why are they the 6, 7, 8, 9 hitters?
Because they can't get on base.
That's right. So for him to have this many RBIs, he's taking advantage of the situation when it appears.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give credit to credit, and the defensive one. I know it's it's kind of hard to maybe for some people to recognize how well he's playing defensively. Especially like outfield and such. But you kind of rely on the advanced metrics and all that sort of stuff. And we've seen some highlight catches he's had, out there too. But no, got to give credit to where credit's due. And Yelly putting up a fantastic season. I think he's all-star worthy. I don't know if he'll get in. But I think I'm very happy with the season that Yelich is having so far.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he gets voted in just because he's small market fans, but I would think who is the manager of the team, the Philadelphia's manager from the last year's World Series entrance, he has to, who else are you going to put on that team from the Brewers?
Well, Devin Williams is probably the lock,
but he's
as
a
they
pitcher.
said. Right,
He's
but you can have one rep and you can put him on there. So he's probably the for sure lock to make that all-star squad.
Yeah, I would think Devin Williams is, but as a position player, I'd like to see.
Oh, there's no other position player on this Brewers team.
As Tellez, we talked, I think last week about Tellez hadn't hit a home run
since May,
since almost New Year's Day. Has he hit one? Has he hit one since?
Nope.
He still hasn't hit one.
Nope. Willie Adames now is tied with him for the team lead in home runs at 12 right now.
And they don't talk about it either. What's the matter with Tellez?
No, Brandon did a great job breaking it down Friday. You should listen to that one about he had notes. He worked on it.
Did he really?
And notes and all that. And so we got it recorded up. It's on our website. But he did an impressive deep dive into the offensive woes that are the Brewers, and he highlighted Rowdy Tellez quite a bit. And kind of was speaking the truth. Dude ain't playing well. He ain't playing well at all.
No, his offensive contribution has been negligible here the past month and a half, and it's shown in the Brewers' record.
Yep. So Brewers half game back from the Reds for first place right now. Brewers will go for the series win tonight. Max Scherzer is on the mound for the Mets. Adrian Hauser is going to get the start for the Brew Crew tonight in this series finale before they hit the road for a weekend series against the Pittsburgh Pirates.
But wasn't the last time they faced Scherzer, they had 3 home runs back to back to back?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they've hit him before.
Yeah. Let me bring up his game log. Coming up here, well, and they beat Verlander the other night in game 1 of their series. Yeah, so it was back on April 4th in Milwaukee when Scherzer got the loss. 5 earned runs, 3 home runs. In that game where he went 5 1/3 and only struck out 2.
And I think they were back-to-back home runs. I think Tellez was involved in that deal.
Yelich, I'm just looking at some of these career numbers here. And you got some dudes who have hit Scherzer very well. Victor Caratini in 17 at-bats is hitting .471 against Max Scherzer. And Christian Yelich throughout his career, 37 at-bats, .297 with 3 home runs against Max Scherzer. So hopefully he can continue that little trend there tonight. So,
and the Mets are in trouble. I mean, all their fans are down on them. The media in New York is down on them. I hope Aaron Rodgers is taking notes. If you don't perform, the media's going to come down.
Maybe we could trade David Stearns for a player or something like that since he's going to be over there.
Yeah, maybe we could. But the decision we talk about, our owner Mark Adanazio not spending a lot of money, but the Mets and some of them spend crazy money. The money they paid for Scherzer and the guy that got beat, the other pitcher,
DeGrom?
No, the other pitcher on the Mets that they've got that we beat the other night. You just mentioned his name. I can't
Verlander?
say it. Verlander, thank you. Why couldn't think of that name? But the money they paid for those 2 guys, that's nuts. That's crazy money. So it goes from one extreme to the other. And, you don't put your franchise in trouble if you're in New York, but it shows that, you just can't do those sorts of things in Milwaukee and Pittsburgh and Cincinnati and even St. Louis and, some of the other markets. You just can't afford to do those sorts of things. And boy, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work in so many cases where you've seen so much money, like Stanton for the Yankees, the money they gave him. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
Those that will perform. I mean, I was reading an article about Shohei Ohtani. They're talking $600 million plus because you got to pay him as a hitter and you got to pay him as a pitcher.
Yeah.
And he's one of the best in baseball at both.
Yeah.
So that contract is going to absolutely blow people's mind.
Mm-hmm.
Be a lot of yen going over to that boy.
Yep.
And deservedly so compared to what these other guys are making and what he's producing.
So, I asked this yesterday, and I'll ask you because I just checked the poll question I put up on Twitter about it, and it's literally 50-50. Is Ohtani right now, of all time, a top 20 baseball player of all time?
Yes.
You'd put him in there?
I would, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's 50-50 right now on the Twitter poll I put up yesterday.
And the thing is, well, it takes time. It takes time. This kid is, if he gets a broken leg, you still got to consider him, like you and I consider Ken Griffey Jr. 1, 2, 3 as far as all-time best baseball players. The national media won't consider him that. He doesn't have the longevity, so to speak, of a Hank Aaron, a Willie Mays, a Stan Musial, a Ted Williams, a Babe Ruth, those sorts of things. But still, in all, as far as talent and ability and performance while they're playing, nobody's matched Ohtani. I mean, they talk about Mike Trout being the best baseball player out there.
Yeah, we mentioned
not even on his own team.
Because I looked up yesterday when ESPN did the top 100 baseball players of all time. It was in 2022. They came up with this list. Trout was already at 15 on that list.
They did that this year. Where would Ohtani be?
And he wasn't even on there, even in the top 100 in 2022.
And rightly so.
Yeah, I think he'd at least be in the top 50 for sure, somewhere on there.
Oh, he has to be.
At least.
He has to be.
Because I was going through that list. You want me to bring it up, see who they had in the top 20?
Yeah, if you can. If you can find it quickly. But you look at Ohtani's numbers. I mean, if he's not leading the league in home runs, he's close. He's got one of the better ERAs as a pitcher. He's struck out.
I think he's got 7 wins right now, 7-3 record.
He's struck out as many people almost as anybody else in the American League. I mean, it doesn't matter which category you go to. Ohtani's name is there.
Mm-hmm.
He's just that good.
So again, this was from the Mothership last year when they ranked their top 100 players. Number 1 was Babe Ruth, which I don't think no big surprise, right?
No,
nothing on there. So Babe Ruth was number 1. Willie Mays was number 2. Hank Aaron 3. Ty Cobb 4. Ted Williams 5. Lou Gehrig 6. A lot of names that are always in the mix there. Mickey Mantle 7. Barry Bonds 8. Walter Johnson 9. Stan Musial at 10. Pedro Martinez at 11. Honus Wagner 12. Griffey at 13. Greg Maddux 14. Trout 15. DiMaggio 16. Clemens 17. Mike Schmidt 18. Frank Robinson 19. And Rogers Hornsby at 20. That was your top 20.
Boy, that would be a list to kick around over the bar with a few buddies, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is DiMaggio too low? I didn't hear Stan Musial in there.
Stan was, he's, was he 11?
Was he 11? Okay,
Yeah.
I missed that. Okay, but
he was 10. I'm sorry, number 10.
Yeah, but what a list to kick around, man! Oh man! Oh man!
Yep, Cy Young 21, just outside there. So, but Ricky Henderson 23. Would you put Ohtani higher than Ricky right now?
Absolutely.
I think I would too. So, I know not to switch, but since we're talking about top 100s and all that, I know Slam magazine, which is a basketball magazine, just came out with their, I think it was top 100 point guards of all time. And I have to pick up a copy because I couldn't see it online there. But I'd be curious to see outside. For me, it's easy the top 3, top 4, somewhere around there. But I'd be curious, like, okay, you're talking about 100 point guards of all time.
I was just going to say, man, that's quite a list. That's getting down to some guys that maybe aren't all that great.
And on the cover, this is where I'm kind of curious. On the cover, so they have a few players on there. LeBron's on there. So I don't know if they're counting him as like a point forward sort of situation on there. But I'd be curious. That's where I'm a little curious to see where they've got that on there.
Well, he's a great passer. And when he does handle the ball, brings the ball down the court as a point forward, point guard, or whatever you want to call him. And that's why, ever since, way back when Don Nelson was a coach for the Celtics and the Bucks.
Yep. Warriors, Mavericks.
Yeah.
Yep.
He more or less invented this point forward and changed the game as far as, are you a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? Well, a point forward, what are they? And so,
Scotty was one of those.
Yep, exactly. So how do you categorize these guys? And I wouldn't argue with putting LeBron James as one of the top point guards.
That's where like Steph Curry is going to be on there, but I almost view him more as a shooting guard.
Yeah, I view him as a 2, not a 1, not a distributor. That's why they got Chris Paul.
Yep. That's where, to me, the top 3, and I think is Magic, Isaiah, and Stockton. I'd put those 3 off the top of my head right now. So, and that's where I'm kind of curious how they would round that out after that. So, but
I wouldn't argue LeBron in there either.
And I know Steph's going to be high because
yeah,
he's considered a point guard, but I guess I'm more old school and I'm thinking of the guy that's going to almost average a double-double, with the assists and points, and Big O, Oscar Robertson.
But if you look at that too, and you look at assists as far as deciding who your top point guards are, Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets.
Russell Westbrook would probably be on there. James Harden.
But Jokic is a 5, but he's one of the best assist men in basketball and has been. I mean, triple doubles like nobody's business, and he's always got at least
the facilitator.
Yeah. Yep. So, what is a point guard now? 6'2" or 7'2"? It really is.
Well, remember when Kid's probably going to be on the list too, but remember when Kid tried to make Giannis a point forward?
Yeah, he did.
A little bit there too. So, but not to completely change subject, but since we were talking about top 100s, and now I'll have to go pick up a copy there too. But hey, sticking with baseball though, as we mentioned, the 24th perfect game in history last night.
Saw that.
Domingo Germán from the Yankees.
That's the guy that got suspended, wasn't it?
I believe so.
Earlier this season for stuff on his fingers or his gloves or what, sticky stuff.
So 20 broke a tie. Yankees have the most perfect games in Major League history. Broke a tie with the White Sox, so they're at 4. I kind of threw out a little.
That would have been a good trivia question. They broke the tie with which team?
Well, I threw out another one. So this was the last perfect game since 2012. It's been 11 years. But 3 pitchers in 2012 had perfect games.
I remember that year. That was a crazy year.
Can you name any of those pitchers?
I can't remember. But I remember it. I couldn't even have told you the year, but I remember that it did happen.
Yeah, it was year. Like, what is going on here a little bit? Is there something going on with the ball or what? But nobody got it so far. Matt Cain was one of them. Remember from the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
He got the last perfect game before last night. You got to go over to Seattle. King Hernandez, Felix Hernandez, excuse me, got it in August, and then one that probably nobody would have guessed was the White Sox and Philip Humber, name that you probably don't recognize. And
no, I don't think he's even in the league anymore.
He was. So I was looking this list. He had been the 3rd overall pick in the 2004 draft by the Mets, but he was essentially a journeyman nearing the end of his big league career that consisted of 371 innings and a 5.31 ERA. But he got that perfect game with the White Sox, and then right before that, the last one, Roy Halladay in 2010.
Yeah, he was a great pitcher. He was really, really good.
Mm-hmm. So,
but that's really hard. A perfect game. Well, 99 pitches is all he threw last night too.
Mm-hmm. So I asked this question, just kind of a fun question to get some responses out there. What would, in your opinion, you personally, do you think is the most nervous, stress-filled situation, being a pitcher and that, knowing you have a perfect game going, bottom of the 9th, last hitter up? Or is it the infielder that if you get a bad hop or something? We talked about it, was it last week, a couple weeks ago with the U.S. Open, having to tee off on 18 with Rory in the clubhouse and everybody watching you, nailing a putt or whatever. What would be the most nerve-wracking situation for you personally? All of them would be, but if you had to nail it down, there's no right answer, obviously, in this. But I'd almost be worried about being that third baseman for a bad hop,
or being the Buffalo Bills place kicker to win a Super Bowl.
Right? Yeah, field goal, on the clock, free throw when it's like, I think trying to hit a free throw at home when it's all quiet is almost worse than having the crowd yelling at you.
From your Orlando.
No, we don't need to bring Nick Anderson.
Nick Anderson missing those free throws. But that's pressure, no question. For me,
or is it bowling 300?
Well, bowling 300 would be tough too. I've never been in that situation either. Believe me, I've never been in that situation. But boy, bowling 300. And I would like to know how many 300 games are out versus 299s out there. But, you've been throwing balls. You've been throwing 9. Then you get to the 10th frame and the 10th. You've got your routine down. You got your motion down. You know what you have to do, where you're going to lay it over the second arrow or wherever you do. So while it's nerve-wracking, I don't think it's as – and like I said, I've never been in that situation. If I would have, I'd have probably – had to go to the bathroom quick.
Wet your pants.
Yeah, exactly. But and while that's nerve-wracking, I don't think that would be as much as making a putt. A 6-foot, 3-foot putt is one thing, but a 6-foot putt to win a major, I think that would be the most nerve-wracking. I mean, if the ball takes a bad bounce on an infielder, there's nothing you can do about that. I don't care. You can, like last night, Donaldson picked the ball up, threw it out, and that's it. But I think making that putt or making the free throw.
I hate putts that are like 5 feet when something's on the line.
Yeah, that's what I said. 5, 6, 7 foot putts. Those are tough
because they're supposed to be gimmies.
Yeah,
if you're, a decent golfer, but it's like
then the announcer will say, he hasn't missed a putt inside 8 feet all week.
I hate those short ones when something's on the line.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's when I start to really get in my head.
Yeah, that's why you've got to have the wiener putter. The wiener putter. I brought the wiener putter in for you to look at here. Hold it up so people can see it that are watching on the stream.
Okay, here. What do we got? So it's actually gold too. On the inside there.
Yeah,
got a little gold over here.
But on the back side, it's the wiener. It's a wiener.
It's the shape of a little hot dog.
Yeah, and it's got Oscar Mayer on the back side. So that's
good Lord Almighty.
I got to get it re-gripped. The grip's getting a little smooth.
Yeah, you got this old school. Is this Golf Pride?
I don't know.
What is this?
But it's that's the
wiener Golf
putter.
Pride,
yeah. That's the wiener putter.
Oh man. It's a little slick on that.
Yeah, I gotta get a different grip on there. I gotta find somebody that knows how to re-grip a club. And
I know how to do that.
Do you?
But I'm not doing it for you because I don't want to screw it up for you.
Oh,
I've done mine, but
yeah. But that's the
get some lighter fluid and slip it on.
Oh, that's the
two-sided tape.
Yeah.
Do it that way.
That's the wiener putter, Oscar Mayer wiener putter.
You'll definitely want to get a grip when you're within that 5 feet and you're getting nervous and you don't want the sweat to roll down there and lose your grip there. So
but I think it would be the free throw or the putt.
Mm-hmm. A couple of texts for people chiming in on that. How about trying to sink that long putt at the Kasper Outing putt contest? That was from Jim. Josh, 11 strikes in a row, going for the 12 for 300. Have you, Josh, gotten it? Kind of curious.
I talked to somebody up at this last winter when I was bowling. I bowl up at Falls Bowl in Chippewa Falls, and there were Channel 13 was in there one night doing some sports stuff, and you'll have to on Monday ask Justin. He'll remember who the people were. But and I did two guys, ungodly number of 300s that they had thrown last year. But Justin will remember the story. But I said, how do you do that? They said, well, you get in the groove, and like I said, they know the oil pattern, and they know how their ball maneuvers and this, that, and the other thing. And I mean, I'm talking about double-digit 300 games, I think. But Justin will ask him on Monday. Well, you won't be here Monday, but
nobody will be here on Monday.
Yeah. Oh boy. So, but next time we get a chance to talk to him. But so that's one of the reasons, because I was thinking back in the back of my mind, those guys, and I was talking to him after they left. I said, how many did you throw? And he said, well, I don't know, I threw 12. Well, ask him. He's got 35 in his life or some darn thing like that. It's crazy. But that's why I say the 300 is pretty prevalent.
We might have to use this putter for the outing where we do a putting contest where you can only use
the wiener. Well, that's what it is. It's a wiener putter from Oscar Mayer.
Say putter after that, though.
Well,
it's a family show, Bob. Come on.
That's right. Kids aren't getting up to go to school yet.
Well, I hope some. Well, I guess summer school is going on right now.
Yeah,
so,
but anyway, yeah, that would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Can't bring your magic putter. You got to use the wiener.
Oh, you're ready for Wine Thursday.
I was going to say this is Wine Thursday too. Let's see. Last week we had blueberry. We've already had dandelion.
Strawberry or raspberry was the other one?
We'll try strawberry, raspberry.
Did I see you sneaking a bottle in there, by the way? Or was that the putter?
No, that's the putter I put in there.
Okay. I thought I saw you.
Bottle of water. I'm on a new diet.
Oh.
I just started it this week.
Are you being serious now?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Because I want to lose. I mean, I've got a belly that I've never had before. So I wanted to lose weight. So I'm on this diet. And you got to drink like 10 gallons of water. I feel like a cow. A cow will drink a bathtub full of water a day. And I feel I'm drinking so much water, I feel like a cow. And I can't walk by a bathroom without having to stop in. It's unbelievable.
You need to get one of those things. I've got it. I barely use it. It's one of those water jugs where it has the times for you to so at 7 a.m., make sure you have the water down to that level. 9 a.m., have the water down to that level.
But I'm drinking an awful lot of water.
That way you don't have to fill up those bottles all the time.
Well, I don't
get
know.
one of those big old water.
But if I'm not flushed out by now, I never will be.
What did you? You trying to improve that backswing speed or something?
No, I'm just trying to improve.
Oh, I suppose with your leopard printed.
Oh yeah, gosh, yes, my leopard printed Tarzan swimming suit. I
got this image now with your wiener putter and that.
There you go.
Yeah, we need to. We're falling apart here, man. So, let's take a break and then finish up the first hour. All right, we're holding on to that. That's going to be a part of the contest in a month.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
The Shoe Doctor is known for quality footwear. Remember, the Shoe Doctor can keep your feet comfortable during all the different outdoor weather and activities here in the Chippewa Valley. Work boots, casual shoes, sandals, and more from brands you trust like Keen, Merrill, Chaco, and Dansko, and that's just to name a few. Located on Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, you can also visit them online at ShoeDoctorFootwear.com. The Shoe Doctor, quality footwear for work, sport, and fun.
All right, weekend warriors, how's your body feeling right now? Knee pain still bothering you? That old injury that you never got fixed starting to flare up again? Sounds like it's time to take yourself in for a good tune-up. And there's no better place to go in the Chippewa Valley than Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Whether you're a high school or college athlete or a weekend warrior dominating the softball fields, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine wants to help you reduce your pain and get back on the field of play. Just schedule an appointment today by visiting cvosm.com and start living that pain-free, healthy life.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of insane out there. In roller derby, it's not a game, it's a bout. And each jam is filled with insane drive blocks and rushing soul crushes that rip shivers through your toe stops. Pace line, pivot line, jam a grand slam, whip a scoring pass, or you're down with rink rash. Yeah, there's a whole lot of insane out there. And every Wisconsin roller derby girl knows to be insanely good on the flat track, you can't be insanely drunk. And if you can't be drunk on those wheels, you'd be super insane to roll drunk on your car's wheels. So take it from Wisconsin's best jammers, blockers, and pivots. When it comes to driving,
drive sober on the road, no matter how many wheels you roll.
Because you can't lap the pack with an OWI riding your back. So ladies and guys, drive sober or get pulled over. And let's reduce fatalities on Wisconsin roadways. Download the free Drive Sober app with a Find a Ride feature, awesome videos, and more at witrafficsafety.org.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Transportation.
One person can make a difference in someone's life, and that person can be you that's listening right now. How? Well, you can make a difference in someone's life by supporting the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity. And the best part about supporting the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity is that you can help make a difference in someone's life in a few different ways. Like there's donating to the Restore. Do you have a couch, desk, or leftover building supplies that you don't know what to do with? Well, by donating them to the Restore, you're helping keep their shelves stocked for items for customers to purchase, and proceeds of those purchases go to help fund home builds in our area. And that's the second part. By shopping at the Restore, those proceeds go to help families in need in our area. Plus, you never know what kind of treasures you may find. And you can also volunteer with home builds, home repairs, and fundraising with Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity. Yes, you can absolutely make a difference in someone's life. Just visit cvh4h.org to learn more.
Service Master of Chippewa Valley is your local expert when it comes to fire and water damage, carpet and air duct cleaning, mold remediation, and trauma. They're when you need them 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Trust comes in the yellow truck. Learn more at ServiceMasterChippewaValley.com.
Thanks for listening. And thanks for checking out our live stream on YouTube and Facebook. And thanks for not mentioning that spot on Dan's shirt.
Barbecue stain on my white t-shirt.
I guess that's why he never wears white.
You can't handle the truth.
The Dan Kasper Show.
Big Worm's got a question. You got a little bit more experience in this, Bob, but he's heading to Century this weekend.
Oh, good.
And he's asking, should I stay put and find seating for the day or walk and follow golfers around? What would you do?
Walk. You know,
Walk.
you want to watch well, I think you've got the same mindset as I do when you go to a tournament. You want to watch them hit different shots. You don't want to sit on a tee and just watch them hit a driver or sit around the green and watch them putt. Walk around the course and figure out the course. What I always do is figure out the course and find the spot where people don't go, usually the outer edge of the course.
Mm-hmm.
So go to some of the, like when we used to go to Hazeltine, we'd go up, I believe it was 4 or 5. It was way up at the end, and you could stand there and watch them hit shots in. Then you could walk up to the green and watch them putt, and then go over to the next hole and watch them tee off. So you're seeing all kinds, irons, putts, drivers, and seeing all kinds. But you know, people are going to congregate around the first tee, the 18th green, the 9th green, and places like that where they're going to have bleachers. But get out and watch some of the other holes. And that way you can, you can get out and be right up against the gallery ropes as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they're going to have it roped off or whatever, but I don't think it's going to be like, Erin Hills. They had the people so far away so they wouldn't step on that feather grass where the balls would get in and things like that. I think Century is going to be, you're going to be able to get up a little bit closer.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I'd never stand in the same place. That's why I was thinking about the Masters. I want to go to the Masters. I want, I want to go to the Masters, but I really want to see Augusta, the golf course, more than I want like to see the tournament. So I'm thinking about it, and I haven't done it yet, of applying for tickets for that women's amateur. So you can walk around the course without a whole lot of people bothering you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see the course and then come home and watch the Masters on TV and also probably save yourself a lot of money.
Is that like the only one? Like, I was trying to think of that because I know you've talked about that before, but like, when we talk about like bucket list items, is that like the only one where it's like you just want to see the venue instead of the game or whatever itself?
Well,
I mean, we'd love to see the Masters, but
But it's like
realistic.
Lambeau too. People want to come to Lambeau. They say you got a bucket list is go to Lambeau. Their bucket list isn't to see the Packers play at home. The bucket list is to go to Lambeau. But I think these venues are so iconic that I think that's what it is. Yeah, I want to see the golf course. Drive, see what the pictures on TV driving in Magnolia Lane with the trees over the driveway. I want to see that because pictures on television are wonderful, but in person it's like going to the mountains. Take a picture of a mountain. Well, you don't see the whole mountain range in that picture, and so you want to see the venue, at least for me anyway. But Century World, I'd want to get there right away and go out to the par 3 where the flowers are and watch that, and then move around the golf course, because I don't think it's, like over at Kohler, that, remember when they first came there, people were spraining their ankles and everything else, and they made them walk all the way around, and then they finally decided, well, after they go through, we can let them cross the fairways. But Century World, I think, is going to be a very consumer-friendly, viewer-friendly venue. And so, enjoy it over there. It's going to be a warm weekend. Take yourself a good bonnet.
Yeah. And we'll see about air quality, too. I know some of the golfers were talking about that, including Steve Stricker yesterday.
Well, nothing you can do about that. That's no control of the golf tournament or anybody else.
Nope. So we'll see how that kind of factors in and such.
And they're walking, but, they're not, and they're out there playing for about 5 hours, but they're not running. They're walking, and then they're stopping at the tees and the greens. And so it's not like, they're going to be out of breath from walking a long distance. You hit your drive and you walk 250, 280 yards, 300 yards to your drive. You stop, you hit a ball, you walk to the green. So it's not like they're under a lot of stress, but you're right. The air quality, you still got to breathe the air. And I mean, coming in this morning with the headlights, I was like headless horseman, fog and smoke. It was really eerie out there.
Yep. We'll get picks for the U.S. Senior Open coming up next hour. If you want to make your picks, you can text those on over 715-830-1912. 1 hour in. We got a couple more to go. We'll be back after these quick news updates.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 Newsroom, it's Morgan McCarthy with your news on Sports Talk 105.1.
A gavel drop takes us to Dunn County. Ryan Steinoff never breathing a free breath again. A judge in Dunn County yesterday sentenced Steinoff to life in prison without parole, and that traces back to a brutal 2020 murder of Bruce McQuiggan. Investigators found McQuiggan's body in a mobile home in Downsville of 2020, saying they found evidence he was beaten for hours and likely tortured as well. Second suspect, Ashley Gunder, pleaded no contest in the case and is serving a 25-year sentence. A third suspect in the case was acquitted by jury. On the political stage, action at the state Senate as the budget moves closer to Governor Evers' desk. The state Senate last night approved a new 2-year spending plan that comes with a $99 billion price tag. The budget spends more on things like roads, schools, and first responders, and looking a little closer, sees a $4 billion tax cut, as well as a $32 million cut to diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts at the University of Wisconsin. 2 Republicans joined every Senate Democrat in voting against the budget. The state assembly votes on the budget today. All eyes on Stevens Point this weekend as the City and Century World Golf Course play host to the U.S. Golf Association's Men's Senior Open. The mayor there, Mark Wiesa, saying it's an opportunity for the city to kind of show off, right?
We have wonderful dining establishments. We've got breweries, distilleries. All of them are offering, tours. There's a fair amount of specials that many of the businesses are offering for USGA attendees.
And the tournament starts today and runs through Sunday. In headlines that take us outside, Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources reminds people that they want to get a sticker to get into state parks this holiday weekend, as you might want to buy those ahead of line. And you can do that online and skip the lines that sometimes clog up state parks on busy holiday weekends like this. Annual pass for Wisconsin state parks is $28, and you can get more information online. We have that link set up for you pretty easy. Just pull over and make your first stop, 715newsroom.com. And maybe you're planning the barbecue. What do we know about costs? Well, it's not cheap, right, Aaron?
Families can expect to pay at least $67.73 for a party of 10. That's down 3% from last year's record high, according to a survey from the American Farm Bureau Federation. This year's cookout cost is the second highest on record, following last year's record-setting number. The cookout includes 12 staple items: hamburger buns, beef, and potato salad. Those prices were all up this year, while chicken breast lemonade and chocolate chip cookies saw price drop. Cases of avian flu, which swept through the country earlier this year, have fallen, given the chicken population time to recover. The biggest drop in prices for lemonade, down 16%. Aaron Real, NBC News Radio.
You know, Kasper asked me if I wanted to have lunch with him today, but I looked in his brown bag and this is what he packed.
Chicken breast lemonade and chocolate chip cookies.
I'll pass. For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
In the wake of last night's severe weather, this morning will start off very quiet, as we'll have a little bit of fog and temperatures hanging out in the 60s. Mostly sunny for today, possibly a few chances at some scattered showers and storms later on this afternoon and evening. Otherwise, partly to mostly clear tonight as temperatures dip to the low 60s. More sunshine for tomorrow and highs once again in the mid 80s. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
There has been a sale of a major central Wisconsin farm equipment manufacturer. Let's take a look at that and other farm news this morning on Sports Talk 105.1 and AM 790. Longtime central Wisconsin farm equipment manufacturer H&S Manufacturing has a new owner. Oxbow Corporation, a leader in hay and forage merging farm tools, headquartered in the Netherlands, says it's buying H&S to expand its presence and product portfolio in the hay and forage industry. The Oxbow CEO said the high quality of H&S products, their dealer network, manufacturing facilities, and dedicated management and employees will help their company grow in the forage marketplace. The news release of the sale said that H&S will continue to operate at its current facilities in Marshfield and Clintonville. The U.S. and Mexico continue to battle over genetically modified corn. This past Saturday, Mexican officials say they will be putting a 50% tariff on all white corn imported into the country. About 20% of the corn we export to Mexico is white corn, and about 88% of the corn grown in Mexico is white corn, used by Mexicans for their staple foods like tortillas, tamales, and enchiladas. To counteract that move, U.S. Trade Ambassador Catherine Tai almost immediately requested a trade dispute panel be set up under terms of the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Free Trade Deal to hear our complaints over Mexico's decision. And over the past decade or more, millions of acres of Brazil's Amazon rainforest have been cleared for corn and soybean production. Now a new investigation led by the Bureau of Investigative Journalism and others has discovered even more deforestation in the Amazon. That new report by two investigative journalists who were killed in the Amazon region last year shows that in the past 6 years, more than 800 million trees have been cut down in order to increase Brazil's beef production. That amounts to just over 4 million acres of trees removed that were in the vicinity of a meat processing plant and plants in the Amazon region. Let's look at some of our farm news this morning on Sports Talk 105.1 and AM 790. I'm Bob Bosold.
Mattress Firm's July 4th sale is here. Stop in today to have a sleep expert find you the right bed at the right price. Save up to 60% on top brands until Tuesday, with Queens starting at $169.99.
Crank it up. Hey, are you ready today? Get up. He's on his way. He's our man. The man, the myth, the legend. That's Dan And now, the Dan Kasper Show.
All right, second hour kicking off on this thirsty Thursday here this morning, and intern has got the bib on and everything this time.
Last week we kind of had a wild one, so let's see if we can get this one opened here. This is whoops, what do we get here?
We got raspberry
wine this morning. Has anybody ever made a song about raspberry wine?
Well, not yet.
See how well it's sealed. It's coming.
Whoa!
There it is.
That one was there. You go. And
tight.
a good thing you did have a shirt on.
That's
Although this
right.
one would have matched you because you got your red polo on this time.
Raspberry wine. There's
We got wiener putters and raspberry wine and holy moly,
Thursday.
what's
Anything
next
can
here?
happen Thursday.
I like that better now.
Used to be like the Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah.
when I
I'm
was a
sure
kid.
they had dandelion wine on there too.
Yeah.
Back in the good old days. So
there we
I
go.
don't know if Jake will be able to partake. He's stopping by for a live.
Oh, is he really?
In studio. So
Good.
I don't know if he'll be able to partake.
Well, we'll pretend we're fishing shore from the shore, not on the boat, from the shore. Let me taste this.
And you might as well refill it because you're gonna like it.
It's good. It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
Nice. Now you get to play bartender too for the rest of the next couple hours here too.
I gotta refill mine and go back into my cage.
Oh man. That's why Thursdays are one of my favorite days of the week.
Because it's close to Friday.
That too. Exactly. So while intern finishes that up, we'll do some sports nuggets of the day brought to you by Ansay Associates. Ansay Associates. On this day in 1897, the Cubbies scored 36 runs in a game against Louisville, setting a record for runs scored by a team in a single game. 1941, Joe DiMaggio got a base hit in his 42nd consecutive game. He broke George Sisler's record from 1922.
Just a quick aside to that, when we were talking the last hour about what's more nerve-wracking. For him, it wasn't nerve-wracking. But for Pete Rose, Paul Molitor, as they were getting closer to, they got into the 40s.
Right.
As they got closer to Joe DiMaggio's record. And even though they might have had 3 or 4 chances a game, the other team knows that too, the pitchers. And I think that would be nerve-wracking as well. I mean, to get to 40 is unbelievable, but to try and get a hit that many times, get close to Joe DiMaggio, that's nerve-wracking too.
Getting close to those records, yeah, absolutely. Do we got anything else? Oh, it was 1998 with negotiations on a new labor agreement at a standstill. The National Basketball Association announced that a lockout would be imposed at midnight. Oh, forgot this one too. 1958, Brazil defeated Sweden 5-2 in the World Cup. Some guy named Pele at the age of 17 scored a goal in the game.
I wonder how much notoriety that in 1958 got in the United States. Most people wouldn't even have tell a softball or tell a volleyball from a soccer ball. Really, in 58.
Yep, exactly. So those are just some of your sports nuggets of the day here this morning. I got something that might make you chuckle here a little bit. I'll let intern get back into his cage over there. But so as we mentioned the other day, and it sounds like Hard Knocks, it's going to be the Jets, which to me, it shouldn't be a big surprise or anything like that. But this should make maybe Packers fans kind of chuckle and roll their eyes here a little bit. This was a post from Pro Football Talk. Hard Knocks could place stress on relationship between the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. Already talking about this. There are plenty of reasons for any team to not want to be the subject of the preseason Hard Knocks series. There's one specific additional reason for the Jets to be leery about being the focal point of the show in 2023. For the Jets, new quarterback Aaron Rodgers would become a focal point of the cameras and the microphones. If the Jets receive the assignment to do the show, which sounds like they will, and the Jets make a bad decision regarding a Rodgers-related snippet that gets included, the Jets might have to answer to Rodgers for it. They're already preparing themselves for a Rodgers and Jets drama best with Hard Knocks.
Well, you look at Rodgers over the last few years, and he's not off the rails, but he went to, his diet. He was going with a girl that made soap out of dirt or ate dirt or something, and he got then that haircut he had for a while with that actress, and then
same girl.
Same girl, yeah. And then he went into the dark, and he comes out. I was 97% retired when he went in there, and his thought process seems to maybe just become more newsworthy over the last few years, but it seemed like in the early part of his career, he was focused on football, and now I don't know how focused he is on football or his lifestyle. Got something he wants to say that he wants people to hear. And if he starts doing that on Hard Knocks, it could create some controversy.
Yeah, here's another line in Pro Football Talk's write-up. Presumably, the Jets will know the things Rodgers does and doesn't want to be included in the broadcast. But what if they guess wrong? Rodgers could end up being unnecessarily miffed over something that was completely avoidable. The best move, if the Jets end up being on Hard Knocks, could be for the Jets to let Rodgers watch the rough cut and to exercise full veto power directly over anything he has said that social media would and could use against him.
That was my next comment, was going to be how much creative authority is Rodgers going to be given over this thing?
Because, isn't it just something?
It is.
I just like, wow, they're already concerned about saying the wrong thing or anything around Aaron Rodgers, so it's like,
they're tiptoeing around him. There's no question about it.
Yep. Which also can be a very dangerous thing though, too, right? To give somebody that much power.
Yeah. They've literally got all their eggs in one basket, because they got all the former Packers over there, and who knows if they're done yet. But it's interesting. Is Bakhtiari going to end up over there?
You can't this year. I mean, it would be a death sentence for contract wise and such. But he's drinking beer with the Packers rookies right now.
Good for him.
I don't you because I know you're on Twitter, but you might have missed this.
I haven't checked it yet this morning.
A couple days ago. So there's a it's a podcast. It's called Bussin' with the Boys. But it's got a couple former football players on there, and Bakhtiari's been a guest on there before and such. But they did a beer Olympics the other day, and Bakhtiari participated. You need a partner. Like George Kittle was on there.
Mm-hmm.
He brought a rookie tight end, Tucker Kraft, with him from the Packers, and they chugged beer. And I'll tell you, we've seen Bakhtiari chug beer at a Bucs game. This was more. It was the Das Boot, the big thing.
Boy.
And that thing was gone like that from Bakhtiari. He dominated the competition, but he brought a rookie tight end with him. I'm like, that's being a leader right there, bringing a rookie tight end to a beer drinking competition.
You bet it is.
Showing you how to really carry the G the right way.
You bet. Here in Wisconsin, you got to eat cheese and drink beer.
Mm-hmm. But it was darn impressive. But Tucker actually retweeted out some pictures of him and Bakhtiari hanging out and just chilling and drinking some brewskis, and Bakhtiari had chimed back saying, "Guys being dudes." So he's embracing it. I got to give him credit for that. Bakhtiari could be.
Well, he's a leader. You look at him; he's going to be one of the leaders on this team this year.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, he can stay healthy and play 13, 14 games, because I'm sure he's going to have to take some rest, a week off here and there, which I can't blame him with the knee surgeries he's had, and he's taken a lot of poundings over the years, no question about it. But if he can stay active and on the field, because when a guy's in uniform, it's a whole lot different than a guy standing there in a sweatsuit trying to encourage the other guys on the field.
Yep.
Because if you're out there getting all lathered up too, they're gonna pay more attention to what you've got to say. So hopefully Bakhtiari can stay there and really do some good. And sounds like the off-season work with the rookies and the young players, he's a leader, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. And I know he's kind of been, it was on that podcast, Bussin' with the Boys, where he made those comments about, is the perception that is we're going to stink and that sort of stuff. But, I mean, I don't think he was necessarily saying anything that other people weren't thinking. right? I
No,
mean, you know,
doesn't sound like it.
But no, it was. If you haven't seen that, he's got another talent. We'll just say, other than playing left tackle.
Well,
in the
I know I
National
saw him
Football
at some of the Bucks games previously, drinking beer, and
yeah, I mean,
he can
Das
consume
Boot.
his share. I wonder if he has to pay for it when he goes to the Bucks games.
I don't think so.
You know,
I don't think he does.
I wonder what
he probably tips well though. Afterwards,
I'll bet he does.
You know?
I wonder what do they charge for beer at a Bucks game? I haven't the Pfizer form. I know down at the American Family Field, it's I don't know $11-12 something like that. I don't know what they charge for beer at the Bucks games. If it's that high or higher, I don't know because I've never been to the Pfizer Forum. That's another bucket list just because big Bucks fans and
Milwaukee Bucks average. I just went away, but it was about $11 some for a 16 ounce, a little over $11. The look you're just giving me right now.
You look at the grocery store flyers and it's $3.12.
I'll tell you right now, man cave lights don't cost that much. So there you go.
I was gonna say it's you go into those places and you buy that and you think, geez, the grocery store I could buy a dozen of them for this price.
Man, it's expensive.
But it's all the venue. Yeah, it really is.
I mean, you factor in the tickets and then you go to the game and it's like, but what are you gonna do? If you want, when I go to a baseball game, I want a dog and a beer. It's kind of just the nostalgia, or it's like that's what you do, sort of thing. And
you feel like you're investing in the team.
Yeah,
the concession stand.
Yeah.
My investment today is going to be a brat and a beer and whatever, peanuts.
And then we were talking about the Masters earlier, and they dirt cheap stuff except for apparel and swag.
Yeah.
Food wise, it's cheap, but
what did they say? Get a cheese sandwich for I don't know,
couple bucks.
Yeah.
You want a hat though? You're gonna have to drop $70.
I got plenty of hats.
That's the thing. If I drop $70 on a hat, I ain't wearing it.
No,
that's
true.
displayed
that's
on the
true.
man cave mantle or something like that. I mean, I ain't wearing that thing.
No,
I mean, if it's first
and
of all,
you figure, and if you look at the tag, made in China or made in Indonesia, that cap probably cost about 4 cents to make. But it's just, and I don't know that. I've never seen a Masters cap, but most caps are, not made here.
Mm-hmm.
And whether the Masters and U.S. Open caps, and I know when I go to Hawaii and go to the Tournament of Champions over there, you look at some of that swag that they've got in there too, and you think, oh, I might buy a towel for my golf bag. You hook a towel on your golf bag, a little hand towel type of thing, and you're talking $25. I can buy a whole bathroom full of towels on a white sale for that price.
Yeah. Hey, don't worry though. Casper Classic, you'll get a free towel if you sign up.
Good deal.
So,
good
golf
deal.
towel on there. So, let's take.
I don't think they won't let me enter because they figure I'm a homer with a wiener putter. I've got an unfair advantage.
It's a very intimidating putter that you bring in the intimidation factor on that thing.
You sure do.
I'll tell you one thing I did when I was in high school. And you're warming up putting. One thing, I was an idiot. I thought I was being funny, but I thought, what I did, I had a plastic yellow putter, like a kid's one.
Mm-hmm.
And I took a marker and I put $signs all over that thing. And then before our tournament began, I went on the practice green and I started putting with that thing. And the looks I got from just like, you're an idiot sort of thing. I thought I was being, I was 16 years old, thought I was cool and trying to give them a little intimidation like the Little Giants movie says to do, and I was just an idiot. But
it's growing up, big deal.
I thought I was being funny and I wasn't.
You were. Well, you never know. To you were. That's all that matters.
I made one putt with it.
There you go.
When I'm talking plastic, I'm talking like 100% plastic. So you had to swing hard and just to get a.
Yeah, that doesn't give you a lot of feel for the greens when you get your regular putter out.
That's probably why I didn't win that one. Or did it? Was that the one? No, that was not the one I won actually. But all right, let's take a break. But we're going to talk some hoops. NBA free agency getting ready to start up here tomorrow. We got the latest Bucks rumors. We'll tell you what Mark Stein is hearing about what the Bucks will do when free agency kicks off here. That's coming up after these quick words.
You're listening to the Dan Kasper Show.
Get ready to save half with half-off deals.
a great way for you to get goods and services that you will love, and you don't have to pay full price. Start saving this Friday, June 30th, with Wisconsin Makers Market. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save with this week's half-off deals. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
Right now at Hurlburt Heating and Plumbing, get a free indoor air quality package with a UV light and MERV 16 filter when you purchase a new heating and cooling system. Talk to Hurlburt today about no-cost consultations and no-interest financing, serving the Menominee, Eau Claire, and Hudson areas since 1959. Call Hurlburt Heating and Plumbing today and ask about your indoor air quality package. More details at hurlburthp.com. That's hurlburthp.com.
How do you begin your mornings? If you're like many people in the world, and like me, you begin it with coffee, but not just plain burnt coffee, quality coffee. Coffee from Cabin Coffee in Altoona. Hot, iced, blended. Doesn't matter what your go-to style is, Cabin Coffee has something for everyone to help make your mornings go just a little bit better. And at Cabin Coffee, they even roast their own coffee, and you can get your own bag of freshly roasted and ground coffee, which is perfect for me since I'm up earlier than the majority of you. Begin your mornings just a little bit better with Cabin Coffee in Altoona.
The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is here and ready to help. Anyone can call or text 988 or chat via 988wisconsin.org to get connected to a trained Lifeline counselor. Trained counselors are here to support anyone experiencing a suicidal, mental health, or substance use crisis. You can also contact 988 if you are concerned about someone. 988 is confidential and free to all Wisconsin residents. 988 24/7. Call, text, chat. Here to support you. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Don't miss July 4th savings now at Lowe's. Freshen up your home with buy one, get one 50% off on select interior and exterior paints and exterior stains via Lowe's gift card rebate. And get gardening with savings on Stay Green soil. Right now, buy 3 bags for just $10. Lowe's knows July 4th savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 7/5. Soil offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii, and selection varies by location. While supplies last, more terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of insane out there. In roller derby, it's not a game, it's a bout. And each jam is filled with insane drive blocks and rushing soul crushes that rip shivers through your toe stops. Pace line, pivot line, jam a grand slam, whip a scoring pass, or you're down with rink rash. Yeah, there's a whole lot of insane out there. And every Wisconsin roller derby girl knows to be insanely good on the flat track, you can't be insanely drunk. And if you can't be drunk on those wheels, you'd be super insane to roll drunk on your car's wheels. So take it from Wisconsin's best jammers, blockers, and pivots. When it comes to driving,
drive sober on the road, no matter how many wheels you roll.
Because you can't let the pack with an OWI riding your back. So ladies and guys, drive sober or get pulled over. And let's reduce fatalities on Wisconsin roadways. Download the free Drive Sober app with a Find a Ride feature, awesome videos, and more at witrafficsafety.org.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Transportation.
This is Scott Pasak, owner of Colfax Chevrolet. We have a fantastic selection of vehicles in stock, and if you don't see what you're looking for, we will find it for you. We strive to provide an excellent customer experience, so stop in and see what makes Colfax Chevrolet different. Visit both of our lots in downtown Colfax, and for a buying experience completely online, visit colfaxchev.com. It's always a fantastic day at Colfax Chevrolet.
Because you have high standards and won't settle for anything less, like your wife did. It's the Dan Kasper Show.
The Eau Claire Express will be returning home Saturday, this July 1st.
They're doing well.
They are. They are in a battle for first place right now in their division as the first half is just wrapping up here in a couple of days here. But they fell last night to Thunder Bay, but one game back from Thunder Bay. They play Thunder Bay tonight. Also, Duluth is one game back. And who do the Express play tomorrow and Saturday? Duluth. Rochester is 2 games back from first place. And, oh, wait, the Express play Rochester Sunday and Monday here too. So you've got a battle of your top 4 teams in the Great Plains East. It's going to come down to the wire here for the first place in that division and to clinch that first half championship and to clinch a playoff spot there too. So if you can get out to Carson Park Saturday, cheer this team on to hopefully clinching that spot for a playoff spot. It is Yellowstone night, so Yellowstone fans, get on over there in the first 300. You're going to get a Yellowstone-themed T-shirts over there, too. So that's coming up this Saturday. We're going to be over there. I know I'm going to take Hudson. He loves going to the Express games, baseball games. So
great atmosphere.
It is.
Wonderful family atmosphere, and it really is a great place to go.
Yep, and they've been doing a tremendous job over there. So if you haven't been out to the ballpark yet, what the heck are you doing? Get on out there. Get on out there. Okay. So let's talk a little hoops to change gears here. We got NBA free agency starting up here fairly soon. And now the rumors and speculation reports are swirling out there. The latest on the Milwaukee Bucks, according to Mark Stein, is that league sources, quote, league sources say that Milwaukee is indeed in a promising position when it comes to re-signing both Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez. The Bucks are increasingly expected to re-sign Jay Crowder after surrendering 5 second-round picks to acquire him from Phoenix before the February trade deadline. So it sounds like running it back with this group.
Sounds like they don't want to make the same mistake the Bucks made with Hader. You got rid of Hader and got nothing. You got Crowder, gave away 5 draft picks, and you got nothing because he didn't get to play. And whether that was injury, whether it was performance related, whether it was Budenholzer not knowing how to use him, whatever. So I'm glad to hear that because I think Crowder can offer some things to this team that they haven't had since Carter left.
Yep, I agree. So, I mean, you know, if they bring back Middleton, if they bring back Lopez and Crowder, I don't know what else they would have available to bring in to help. You know,
and what else do they need?
You know, the one thing I would like to maybe see a little bit of an upgrade at the shooting guard. You know, maybe move Grayson Allen to the bench. But does Jay Crowder play a little, or do you have him coming off I don't know.
Well, it's Chris Middleton going to play. I mean, if they're going to bring Chris Middleton back, they got to be pretty confident that he's going to be healthy.
Gonna be good, yeah.
And so he's the shooter that they didn't have last year because let's face it, he was so in and out of the lineup. It was inconsistent with him. When he did play, he never got a lather up, so to speak. So I think that would make a difference. I don't think they need a whole lot more.
And Javon Carter, one of their best bench players last year, has opted out of his player option, so he will become an unrestricted free agent. He was a strong defender. He shot over 42% from three-point range last year in 81 games played.
But how many shots did he take?
Well, I mean, he took quite a few over there. I mean, he was one of their main guys coming off the bench there. He was their backup. He started quite a few games too for the Bucks there. So
I know he contributed, but I don't know.
Yeah, 43.7%. Buck 43.7% from three. Yes, last year. So
which is a good percentage, but you know, was he taking 3 a game or was he taking 12 a game? There's the percentages are one thing, but actual total numbers and contribution to the scoreboard would be
You're
more.
Such a downer on him.
No, I'm not a downer, but I just percentages don't tell the story.
You need more wine.
I'll be over in a minute. Percentages to me don't tell the story. It's the actual hard numbers. You know, if I build 1 car this year and 2 cars next year, I've increased my production by 100%. So percentages to me can be very misleading. And I don't know what his shot volume was last year as far as a real contribution to this team. I know he's a good player. I'm not trying to downgrade the kid at all, but I'm just looking at percentages to me tell the story like I think hard numbers do.
So I'm probably going to get a pay raise. I don't know if the Bucks will be able to bring him back. He averaged more points per game at any point in his career when he was with the Bucks. He was part of that. Remember, the year prior he came over from the Nets, and there was some question why. Again, he was kind of one of those guys too heading into last year there was questions the year before why he wasn't getting enough playing time, why why Budenholzer wasn't playing him more. He got more playing time last year. He put up career highs and such. Is that a thing with Budenholzer? I mean, I hate to kind of go back at it because he's no longer with the Bucks, but you kind of wonder with some of these players and playing time. It was really like kind of inconsistent with Budenholzer. It wasn't a few years ago he wasn't using the bench. Then maybe he was using the bench too much. He never found, I think, that sweet spot when it came to a rotation.
I think you bring up a good point that you have to question Budenholzer's coaching style. Did he understand the talent he had? He won a championship. He got him number 1 seed, but you don't lose to the number 8 seed. I mean, I think he was completely outcoached by Spoelstra in the tournament. But I think that these guys, Crowder's one, Taylor's another one, where they use the right way, and did they get the most out of them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you look at some of the numbers. I know we've kind of bragged about the last couple of years when it comes to Giannis. He's like, well, look at the numbers he's putting up, and he's like, not even in top 10 in minutes played per game and that sort of thing, which is great. You're keeping him healthy and such. But then when you get to the postseason, do you shorten that bench then? You kind of make those, do you keep, in this case, I guess he probably shortened his bench and didn't play Jay Crowder enough in the postseason. I don't know. But.
And that's one thing they say, when you get to the playoffs, you shorten your bench. Well, why? If you were successful in the regular season playing 8-9 guys, all of a sudden there's going to be a time in the playoffs, and we did see that in the playoffs after the Bucks were done, but some of the other teams, we did see where some guys that hadn't played all of a sudden had to come in and play. And, if they hadn't played for a while, they weren't up to game speed.
And the playoffs are a grind.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know why you'd shorten your bench, but because the Bucks had a lot of players that contributed. Connaughton, he contributed a lot, and there were other guys that contributed during the regular season, and it's all all coaches do it, because you hear the guys, the color guys, say all the time, well, they're shortening their bench. They got 8 players that they're going to play. Well, during the season they play 9 and 10, and they contribute. So why change that? That's one thing that always made me scratch my head, is why do that and put that much more pressure? And these guys, all of a sudden, that are playing more in the playoffs, do they have the legs for that? Do they have the stamina for that? Does that affect their shot late in a game because they're playing more minutes? Or give them a break during the middle of the game with some of these other guys that proved they were contributors during the regular season? I've never understood that, but it's the way the game is played. And, it just works out that way. But I just think when you got a good bench, use them.
Well, if the Bucks run it back and essentially bring back their team that they had last year, would you be satisfied with that?
I think so.
That? They don't
because like I said earlier, Middleton, if you're going to bring Middleton back, and you're talking $40 million, you don't give a guy $40 million if you're not sure that his knee is healed, that he's going to be able to play from the get-go and play a lot of minutes and perform for you. Brook Lopez, I think he deserves a pay increase. He's been I think he just improved every year.
Defensive Player of the Year runner-up last year.
As far as his performance with the Bucks, he's done more. He's played defense, like you said. He's made some big shots. I just think Brook Lopez is a good player and deserves to come back. But Middleton, I think, is the key.
Yeah, Brook Lopez definitely excelled in Mike Budenholzer's system.
Oh, there's no question about that.
But, you got Adrian Griffin coming in, and his specialty is defense. Brook Lopez, runner-up and Defensive Player of the Year. Kind of seems like a nice match.
And Crowder can play defense.
Drew Holiday, we know, can play defense.
Yeah.
Giannis is a Defensive Player of the Year winner. So
I think, and a lot of people speculate that Budenholzer missed the boat on Crowder against Miami.
Yep.
You put him on Jimmy Butler and make Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, it was like practice for him against the Bucks. I mean, he was wide open shots in the lane, and these guys don't miss those shots. But you put a guy like Crowder on him, and all of a sudden he gets to be a little physical, and that shot changes, and all of a sudden you're getting bumped because it's a contact sport. The NBA is a contact sport. You're not going to get a wide open layup unless it's a fast break or something like that. But if you're playing offense and defense, and the defense is setting up. You go against a guy like Jay Crowder, you're gonna have to earn that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, I think if you ask a lot of Bucks people, Bucks fans, we had people, when the playoffs were going on, texting in about what's going on with Jay Crowder, sort of thing, and kind of just questioning, is it something he's doing wrong? Is he not? Why, is he not performing well? And I think the big question is like Budenholzer's philosophy at that point. Yeah.
And at the press conferences, did anybody ever ask Budenholzer about Crowder when they were in the playoffs against Miami?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I don't remember either that anybody said, why is Jay Crowder not playing and, matching up somewhat at least against Jimmy Butler? Because, Giannis is big, long, tall, but he's not physical stature of, when Carter was here, he made the difference in that team that year when they won. And I think Crowder, I'm not saying he was
PJ Tucker,
or PJ Tucker, I'm sorry, but where they, they just didn't play well against Miami. But would Crowder have made a difference? I don't know. We'll never know. But I sure would like to have found out.
Mm-hmm. Give it a shot, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Give it a shot.
You got the resource there, use it.
And when you invest 5 draft picks in a guy, that probably irked the GM a little bit to not see him on the courts. Just a little bit, I would think.
Oh, I would think so. I don't know if he was called on the carpet, and that's they finally pulled the carpet out from under him. I don't know how much that played into the whole equation of Budenholzer getting let go, but I'm sure it was part of it.
Mm-hmm. If they win, and then it's probably a non-issue at that point. But yeah, you factor that all in. It's like, and I don't think Budenholzer's. He's probably taking a year off, which I know he's. And, at the end, his brother did pass away, during the postseason, that postseason run there too with Miami and such. But, he's, if I were him, I'm not saying he should, but, take the year off. Kind of take a deep breath.
Yeah, he's
a little bit there.
He's got money. He doesn't have to worry about that. You don't want to see anybody lose their job, but, I think it was probably deserved.
Mm-hmm.
It really was. I just think he lost.
Well, look at how many
control
coaches
of his
from
roster.
Contending teams.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Switched coaches this year.
Yep.
And the Bucks outside of Toronto, but the Bucks were the only contending team, if you will, to hire a first-time head coach. Everybody else did with the recycles, again, besides Toronto, but talking about the Suns and 76ers and that sort of thing. And we'll see if it works out. But the Bucks did announce their new, I guess their entire coaching staff here, and a lot of the names that we have been hearing about is joining up there. So Terry Stotts, if you remember him, he actually coached the Bucks there for a little bit back in the day, but he is back as an assistant, and that was rumored when Adrian Griffin was first getting hired. He was rumored to be going over there because he's more the offensive minded head coach over there. So, but plenty of experience coming back to Milwaukee, where he served as head coach for parts of 2 seasons. He also spent 9 seasons as head coach with Portland, and that was during that Portland's run where they made like a bunch of playoffs with Damian Lillard and such. So he's back as an assistant, kind of balances out with the defense and offense. Remember Joe Prunty? He was the guy who filled in after Jason Kidd got fired, the interim head coach.
I don't remember that.
But he's back with the Bucks over there too. He was that interim head coach when the Bucks were in the playoffs after they let go of Jason Kidd. So,
and they brought a woman in as assistant.
They promoted, is it Dobner? She's entering her 6th season with the Bucks organization, promoted to head video coordinator at the start of last year after spending time as the assistant video coordinator. But now she's going to be an assistant, first female assistant coach in Bucks history. And Vin Baker is returning to the bench as well.
Good.
But
Stotts is a good coach. Watching him coach earlier, and I always liked him.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you're bringing in a first-time head coach. Surround him with guys who have a lot of experience, right? Especially at the head coach. Stotts has that. Stotts has experience going to the postseason, being a head coach, but also his forte is offense when the head coach's forte is defense. I think that's a good balance, and I think that's a smart move. If they had to pay a little bit more, go for it.
And I think Stotts will come in, and as great as Giannis has been, I mean, he's wonderful, but I think they need to fine-tune his offense a little bit. He just seems to be, that Euro step is unbelievable for him. But I think they need to fine-tune his offense a little bit, because I think he can be much more of a weapon than he has been in the past, and maybe Stotts can do that.
Yeah, we'll see. But I like it. We'll see how it all plays out, if it translates into wins or not, because that's the most important part, right? So
You bet.
All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll finish up the second hour here with a little receive or defer. Coming
Got a
up.
full sheet.
Oh, wow. Plus, last call for any questions for our DNR buddy, Mr. Jake Bolks. Hit us up on the texting line with those questions.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
Now that you've gotten a few rounds of golf in, either for fun or for league, let me ask you, how's your back feeling? Or what about those weekend-long softball tournaments? How are you feeling when you show up to work on Monday mornings? Been there. You're limping around, and it's difficult to even get out of bed or your office chair. Well, stop limping around and complaining about that pain you have, and do something about it. Make your appointment right now with Shepke Chiropractic. Shepke Chiropractic's goal is to work with each patient to achieve their goals and perform to their fullest potential in the capacity that their life requires. So if you're dealing with some back pain from all those extracurricular activities like golfing or playing ball, or because of all those home projects that you're working on, help relieve that back pain by making your appointment with Dr. Logan Shepke. Plus, they have 2 locations to help better serve you. Your journey to a healthier, more fulfilling life starts here at Shepke Chiropractic. Make your appointment today at one of their 2 locations by visiting ShepkeChiropractic.com. That's ShepkeChiropractic.com.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of insane out there. In roller derby, it's not a game, it's a bout. And each jam is filled with insane drive blocks and rushing soul crushes that rip shivers through your toe stops. Pace line, pivot line, jam a grand slam, whip a scoring pass, or you're down with rink rash. Yeah, there's a whole lot of insane out there. And every Wisconsin roller derby girl knows to be insanely good on the flat track, you can't be insanely drunk. And if you can't be drunk on those wheels, you'd be super insane to roll drunk on your car's wheels. So take it from Wisconsin's best jammers, blockers, and pivots. When it comes to driving,
Drive sober on the road, no matter how many wheels you roll.
Because you can't lap the pack with an OWI riding your back. So ladies and guys, drive sober or get pulled over. And let's reduce fatalities on Wisconsin roadways. Download the free Drive Sober app with a Find a Ride feature, awesome videos, and more at witrafficsafety.org.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Transportation.
You need to try the fish fry at the Whitetail Golf Course. Imagine a full Friday fish fry buffet including all you care to eat fish, baked or fried, chicken, shrimp, with 8 different house salads and dessert. The best part, it's only $16.95. That's right, choose from 8 different fresh salad options, fish, chicken, or shrimp, all you care to eat for just $16.95 per person. Plus, you can get your 10-punch play or season golf pass right now. Try Fish Fry Friday, 5 to 9 p.m., Whitetail Golf Course. You'll be glad you did.
Ready, set, summer. It's the busiest time of the year. Hi, this is Scott from the all-new Courtesy Ford in Stanley. We know you're busy and we'd love to help, like taking advantage of our pickup and delivery for your service needs at Courtesy Auto. Now that's what we call courtesy for a lifetime. Plus, our salaried sales professionals are here to make the buying process easier, faster, and more fun as well. So come on in, enjoy courtesy for a lifetime at the all-new Courtesy Auto just off Highway 29 in Stanley. See you soon.
What's something you can't get for $18.99? Enough soil for your new garden. What's something you can get for $18.99? A month of unlimited car washes at Clean and Classy. Something you can't do in 5 minutes? Plant your new garden. Something you can do in 5 minutes? Get rid of springtime grime at Clean and Classy on West Claremont and off Hastings on Brackett Avenue. Wash your car more than once a month? A monthly pass is going to save you money. Make your car clean and classy.
Get ready to save half with half-off deals. A great way for you to get goods and services that you will love, and you don't have to pay full price. Start saving this Friday, June 30th, with Wisconsin Makers Market. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save with this week's half-off deals. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
He might not have a badge, but we have faith in his killer instinct. Celebrate the 10th anniversary of famed detective priest, Father Brown. Stream the new season now, only on BritBox.
That sounds like a marvelous plan.
Plus, watch even more unofficial detectives in much-loved series, including Agatha Christie's Marple, Murder in Provence, and more. Expect intriguing mystery. Expect the Undetectives. Start streaming today at BritBox.com.
His words can move you. Seriously, they could pick you up and carry you to the other side of the room. Or maybe that was the poltergeist again.
They're here.
The Dan Kasper Show, weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
All right, since he's got a full up list over there, let's get right to it. Time for a little receive or defer time.
All right. Well, I just
Wiener Putter himself.
Just got my fair schedule for all the county and district fairs, July 27th through the 30th. The Taylor County
Yeah.
Fair in beautiful downtown Medford.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Been a long time since I've been over there.
Yeah, they'd love to have you back.
Would they? Would they though? That's the thing. You know?
Oh yeah.
We could do the show from there if they let us put up next to the barns or
Oh,
something.
I'm sure they would. All we
Yeah.
gotta do is make the request.
I don't know if they're ready for us that early in the morning over
Well,
there.
they're up washing the cattle, getting them ready. All right, receiver defer. Christian Yelich is the Brewers' MVP so far this year.
Right now, yeah, I'll say that. MVP, receive it.
Yeah, I don't know. And
No offense to Devin Williams, but
Oh,
you know.
but because Yelich is on the field every day.
Mhm.
Receiver defer. Weimer is the most pleasant surprise so far this year for the Brewers.
You know, I might have to receive that because not a whole lot of other options out there to be. And,
No.
you know, I'm just, yeah. I mean, you'd like to see the average and the consistency, but he showed the power. He's been
He's
showing
a
power
heck of an outfielder.
and that speed for. First of all, he didn't even make the opening day roster. He had to be called up because of Luis Urias getting hurt after opening day.
Yeah.
So he joined the team second day, and then with Garrett Mitchell's injury and such, yeah, he's staying team. And yeah, I think there's reasons to be excited with his play, especially for the future.
Yep. Right place at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Also, receiver defer. The Bucks loss in the first round of the playoffs this year, more disappointing than the Brewers missing the playoffs last year after the Hader trade.
Receive.
Yeah,
I'll receive that.
too. I think so too. It's most disappointing. The Brewers, most frustrating. Didn't need to happen. Neither one of them need to happen, but I don't think the Brewers missing the playoffs with a Hader trade didn't need to happen. That trade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, anyway, those are some of my thoughts.
That filled up your sheet.
I write big.
Receive or defer. By the time we get to the All-Star break, we were kind of hitting this up yesterday, but because I mean, you look at the Cubbies, they're kind of just hanging around. They're just a couple games back in this whole. I think they're 4 now back from the division. You will be going to a Brewers Cubs game next week,
You bet.
a week from today, actually.
Yep.
But you got a 4-game set against the Cubbies there. But receive or defer, the Brewers will be in first place by July 10th, the first day of the All-Star break.
I'm going to defer that. I don't think the pitching's strong enough. The starting pitching's strong enough. I just watch them leave too many guys on base in scoring position. They don't get enough 2-out hits. I watch them take too many strikes. I'm going to defer that. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm deferring that.
Would you say Reds still in first place, or
Yep.
do you think the Cubs will make up ground by the All-Star break?
Well, I think so. Receiver defer. The Pirates will be the only team in the Central Division not to be considered a threat to win the division.
Receive, because it'll still be the Cardinals as
I
long
was gonna
as they're
say the
still
Cardinals.
mathematically alive.
Cardinals are still there, and they never quit.
No, and the Pirates, I think, are now coming down to earth on everything.
Yeah,
You know,
some of
they're
the
just
younger guys
crashing.
they're starting to figure out some of the younger guys, and that happens in baseball. The scouts and the people that watch the tape, they know where these holes are in these young guys, and then it's up to the young guys to fill those holes again so that they can be productive. And the Pirates, they caught people by surprise early. And like the guy for the Reds, this rookie for the Reds, a great player. I'd love to have him on my team, but I think he's going to come down to earth. I'm not saying he won't have a great career, but I think he'll come back down to earth too.
Receive or defer, if the Angels know that they will not re-sign Ohtani, they should trade him before the deadline, even though they are in the playoff chase.
Defer. I just think go back to the Brewers and the Hader trade. I just think you're slapping your fans in the face, tell them, well, come on out and spend your money, but we're not going to try and win anything for you. I think it's the same situation at a bigger dollar value, obviously. But I just think, too, that when ownership does that, they're just slapping the fans in the face.
Yeah, because your attendance is going to go down dramatically.
Yeah, and right.
You still have Trout in that, and I get that, but even Trout's, not having a Trout type of year.
No, not at all.
But you're going to go down. Your ticket sales and everything's going to go down if that factors into it too. So, man, that's gonna. I know that's kind of like the, is he going to get traded and such? You can't. If you're in a playoff position, you can't trade your best player, right? You just can't. You can't do that. I know one team did it last year, but you can't do that.
Go to Milwaukee and ask that question.
But probably one of the best players maybe of all time, top 20 right now. I just, I get you want to get some, but was it Buster? Who was on Dan Patrick the other day too? And he said, what are you going to get, draft picks, because it's not like the NFL where you get draft picks and, like what exactly could you get for Ohtani that would like be equal value at this point?
And even in a major market team, because if you're trading for Ohtani, and there's only a limited number of teams that can trade for Ohtani because the dollars are so big. I mean, even New York, Los Angeles, they've got to think about giving what back to the Angels. I mean, it's like the Brewers I hate to dwell on this, but it's just an idiot knew better than to make that trade for what the Angels gave them back, or the Padres rather gave them back. I mean, anybody in their right mind, what's the benefit in this? And so I know it's a dollar deal, but I can't imagine anybody that trades for Ohtani is going to want to keep him, because if they're in the run for the playoffs this year, they're going to be in the run for the playoffs next year and the year after and the year after that. So they've got to dump salary. So who are they going to dump? They're going to, the Mets go after him and they say, well, we'll give you a Scherzer, we'll give you a Verlander, we'll give you a Lindor. And no, you won't. I'm not taking that on for the performances that they're giving me. So, it's a tough deal to work out with Ohtani if the Angels want to get anything back in value, because if you're in the playoff hunt, you want Ohtani, but you don't want to give up other key players on your roster.
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
It's such a tough value to figure out in this thing.
I mean, you go to Philadelphia and say, well, we'll give away all of our players. I mean, they've got some guys that have got awful big contracts over there. But how much can Philadelphia absorb?
Right.
And who are they going to give up? You're not going to give up 3 minor leaguers and a substitute shortstop for Ohtani. It's not going to work.
And, I don't know it personally. I'm just purely speculating. But, when it comes to a guy like Ohtani, we don't know if he would perform well in New York. But we've talked about before, is he comfortable on the West Coast because of the proximity to Japan? Closer
and
to
a
Japan
big Japanese community over there.
Yeah. So, I mean, the comfortability factor, does that factor in where I think it kind of does for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And like somebody said too, what if he wants to stay with the Angels? We're talking about, this trade, or he's going to be traded and signs. What if he wants to stay with the Angels?
Yeah.
Nobody's really been talking about that narrative.
No, and I don't know how much, and again, I hate to bring it up, but I do. Did Hader say anything about, I want to get out of here? I never heard anything that said that he wanted to get out of Milwaukee. I know he wanted more money, and probably more than the Brewers could give him, which is fine and good. But Ohtani has got to bring value back to the Angels. Otherwise, like I said, you're slapping the fans in the face. Say, well, how about another 15 years before we get competitive?
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to follow this.
And that's where,
if they're in the hunt, they cannot trade him. I just don't see how.
And, I know there's this, this talking point again. It was like with Trout a couple of years ago. It's like, well, nobody's able to watch him play because, the West Coast, and you don't even know about Mike Trout and all that. He needs to go to a market where you can see him. And now they're talking about, was it Tim Legler said this about Damian Lillard the other day, which I disagree with. if Damian Lillard wants to secure his legacy or improve his legacy, he needs to go to the Miami Heat. I'm just like, it's this big, got to go to a big market sort of BS sort
you
of thing.
got to be in the East time zone, Midwest time zone. The Western time zone. And they're right. We don't see them. I don't remember the last time I saw Damian Lillard play a game of basketball. But, I have a problem with that too.
I don't like that narrative. I mean, it's.
You get in the playoffs. I mean, how many times did we see Denver play this year?
Right.
And they're in a mountain time zone, just an hour behind us. But, we all saw them in the playoffs, and they got a lot of notoriety.
Yeah.
I don't know where. Who would be in the market for Ohtani? Do you think at the playoff?
And
time?
like a
Can the
realistic
Dodgers
one.
Put more payroll on their books?
That's the thing is, I'll tell you who the highest payroll teams are right now. I mean, Tampa Bay has got a lot of money. I don't know how much, but they're one of the lowest paid ones.
I was going to say,
don't have a lot of
Tampa
money.
Bay, you're
but
not going to go to
no.
Tampa Bay. They're not going to pay that kind of money.
Unless they surprise the world, right? The Dodgers have the 5th highest payroll right now. Angels are the 6th. Your Mets, and it's not even close. Mets are at 344. Then it's the Yankees at 279. Padres, Phillies, Dodgers, Angels, Blue Jays, Atlanta, Texas, Houston.
Let me throw this into the well, I don't know how, but with the Oakland Athletics moving to Las Vegas.
Could they make a splash?
That's showtime. Would they make a splash?
Showtime with Ohtani.
And get him, and I don't know what the exact movement of that team to Las Vegas is. And I don't think it's already next year, is it? I think it's 2025 or something like that, because they got to build a stadium and everything else. But, is there enough money in Vegas? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Because what in the world these casino owners would probably kick in part of his salary to have him play there, to draw people to Vegas, come to watch Ohtani play, go to the casinos, go to the shows. You can make quite a vacation out of that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, if the timing is right, I wouldn't be surprised to see Ohtani go to Vegas, lead the new team in Vegas. The new Vegas, they're going to call them the Athletics or what they're going to call them. I don't know, but, there's going to be money in Las Vegas.
I'm just, one team that not really spending a lot this year. I want to see what their payroll looks like for 2024. But you don't hear a whole lot about Boston being spenders anymore.
No, you don't. They kind of pulled in their horns the last few years. I don't know if they've got new ownership or what. I mean, the Cubs, same thing with the Cubs. They don't, they've got names on their roster, Bellinger and different ones, but they let some people go last year. And I think there's some concern about the ownership in Chicago about how ready, willing, and able they are to build a winning franchise again, that family.
Yep. So I feel like he's a West Coast dude. Like if he hits free agency, he's going to prioritize that, stay on the West Coast. Whether that's going to be with the Dodgers, maybe he's with the Angels, or like you said, hey, Vegas. Although Oakland, that would be a way. Can you just imagine Oakland fans would just be irate?
Oh, they'd be wild.
Holy moly.
And rightly so.
Yep.
But strike while the iron's hot.
All right. We got 2 in. We got an earlier edition of some outdoor tidbits. So Jake will be joining us here. If you got any last second questions, send those on over. Then we'll get back to some more baseball talk. Brewers going for the series win later tonight. Will they get it done against Max Scherzer?
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1.
cents for a party of 10. That's down 3% from last year's record high, according to a survey from the American Farm Bureau Federation. This year's cookout cost is the second highest on record, following last year's record-setting number. The cookout includes 12 staple items: hamburger buns, beef, and potato salad. Those prices were all up this year, while chicken breast lemonade and chocolate chip cookies saw price drop. Cases of avian flu, which swept through the country earlier this year, have fallen, given the chicken population time to recover. The biggest drop in prices for lemonade, down 16%. Erin Real, NBC News Radio.
Casper asked me if I wanted to have lunch with him today, but I looked in his brown bag and this is what he packed.
Chicken breast lemonade and chocolate chip cookies.
I'll pass. For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
In the wake of last night's severe weather, this morning will start off very quiet as we'll have a little bit of fog and temperatures hanging out in the 60s. Mostly sunny for today, possibly a few chances at some scattered showers and storms later on this afternoon and evening. Otherwise, partly to mostly clear tonight as temperatures dip to the low 60s. More sunshine for tomorrow and highs once again in the mid-80s. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
Economy Furniture in Chippewa Falls is something that you gotta see. The biggest selection for miles around, 2 jam-packed floors of quality. At Economy, you don't have to wait for a sale. It can be yours immediately. Everyday low prices on the best brand names, and we finance it interest-free. Furnishing the Chippewa Valley since 1950. Economy Furniture's for me.
If you're looking to hire, look to Indeed. With Indeed's end-to-end hiring solution, you can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Let me ask you something. Did you name your firstborn after a football player?
Hell yeah.
Did you spend your honeymoon going to a football game?
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Do you spend most of your free time hanging out in your man cave?
Yes!
If you answered yes to all the above, then you, my friend, are a serious sports fan just like Dan.
Yes!
This is exactly where you belong. Sports talking and BSing is what we do.
What? We just become best friends? Yup.
So rise and grind, people, because Dan Kasper Show is on the air.
You serious, Clark?
Right now.
Showtime! Woo!
Final hour kicking off on this Thursday morning of June 29th. Appreciate y'all tuning in, however, wherever you may be tuning in from. Shout out to everybody who's watching us on the video stream as well. We got the U.S. Senior Open that is already teed off right now. It looks like McCormick is your leader through 3. 2 under par. In case you're wondering, Steve Stricker will tee off this afternoon. Looks like 2:04 tee time for Mr. Steve Stricker over there. Jerry Kelly is going to be teeing off here. It looks like in just about 20 minutes or so. He's got a morning one, Stricker afternoon. I didn't get your pick, so before Jake pops on, what's your pick for the U.S. Senior Open? Is it Stricker?
Yeah, I'm taking Stricker. He's won 2 already. He's home. He's going to have a lot of support, but I don't know, maybe there's too much pressure. Of course, I don't think he has a lot of responsibilities like he does at the AmFam Open down in Madison. So I'm hoping he can win another. Or Jerry Kelly, either one. It'd be nice to have either one of those guys win, but Stricker's...
if he gets that, I mean, you mentioned already, he's already got the 2 championships so far this year. Get another one.
2 majors.
It's like, holy moly. And he's having a fantastic season overall.
Oh, I mean, that guy with that, what do they call it, a dead hand wedge that he hits. You know, a lot of these guys will spin the ball 40 feet. He just hits it right at the flag, and it just is dead.
Yep.
And it just kind of dies there. He'll spin it a little bit, but he's unique with that wedge.
Yep. Definitely, I think fan favorites over there. And if I ask the question, Stricker or Field, I mean, the way he's playing right now in the course, would you take the Field or Stricker?
I think I'd take Stricker.
I think I would
He's
too,
just playing that well, and he's going to have a home field advantage.
Yep.
As far as the crowd, anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, Mark McCormick right now is your leader at 2 under. He's actually okay. So here's an interesting thing. Mark McCormick, because I clicked on his name. He's 2 under through 3. He's a New Jersey club pro.
Good.
Playing the U.S. Senior Open at 60 years old. All right. So he's right now at the top of the leaderboard.
Good for him.
Yeah, another one out there. So if you are there, if you're going, make sure to send 2 pictures over here too. You want to let Jake in for me? He just texted over there, so let's careful. Don't upset it. Be caring. Just saying. We'll get back to some more baseball talk here too, with the Brewers taking on the Mets tonight, looking to get the series win against the New York Mets. Hauser on the mound. You got Max Scherzer going at it with the Mets. Your predictions, if you want to play along, you can hit us up with a text, tweet, Facebook, or comment on that video stream. Who you think can the Brewers pick up a series win tonight and then get ready for a road series against the Pittsburgh Pirates? Let us know. All right. Hit us up with those texts at 715-830-1912. Yeah, come on in, Bob. You can share the studio with us. Let the old guy in here a little bit. Got Jake setting up. How you doing, big guy?
Doing good.
Yeah. We'll get you on that mic right there. We got
Are you on duty or can you drink?
You think he's not?
Where I got in the coffee.
Attaboy.
That's a good answer, actually.
I've never had raspberry wine in my coffee. Of course, I don't drink coffee, so.
Have you ever had coffee? You've had coffee, right?
Oh, I've had coffee.
Because I know G-Man's always said he's never had coffee.
Oh, I've had coffee. When I first started to go call on, doing farm stuff, what I do, go out to farms and visit people, and they say, well, come on in, we'll have a cup of coffee. I sit there and have a cup of coffee, and about half milk. They said, and one lady said, you don't drink a lot of coffee, do you? I said, no, I don't really like it. I like the milk better. Well, just drink milk then, she said.
Well, how's it going, man?
Oh,
good to see you again.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, staying busy?
Staying real busy. Summer's kicking into full spin here and everything, and it's been fun.
Yeah. Getting ready for the 4th weekend. Coming up here.
Yeah. So this weekend is Operation Dry Water, which is like a national OWI like boating event. So like all the fish and game or DNR agencies across the country, and then including any like sheriff's departments and local PDs that have boat patrols are out this weekend focusing on like OWI. In other states, it's DUI and different stuff like that. But focusing on that.
Is the DUI, OWI, I think it's many initials.
Right.
Is it the same as if you're driving a car?
Yep, exact same. The only difference between like a recreational vehicle and drinking and driving is that in Wisconsin, in ATVs, boats, snowmobiles, you can have an open intox, you can have an open beer, have a mixer in a can. But it's 0.08 even if you're under a 0.08, if you're impaired, you can get arrested for impaired driving. 0.08, you're over the legal blood alcohol limit, so you'll be arrested for that. And
fines are the same as if you're
fines are relatively the same. I think it's a little bit more expensive in a motor vehicle, like a car or something like that. But it still has a lot of the same lasting effects and stuff like that.
One question to kind of get, because it's kind of a recent one and it's kind of a unique one.
Yeah.
I'm sure you heard the story about the big old snake in Chautauqua on somebody's roof up
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Somebody had asked, does the DNR get involved in anything like that since it pertains to an animal sort of thing? I mean, or is it mostly like a police related event?
Yeah. So typically something like that, at the end of the day, the jurisdiction, like if there's going to be any sort of violations or charging or someone's going to have to do something about it, it will be like the local PD, local police department, or like I don't know if the health department would get involved, but potentially. But it's going to be a local ordinance. So something like that's going to be defined as like an exotic pet, because that's obviously not native to Wisconsin. We'll definitely go and help. We handle animals all the time, so we are usually more comfortable handling animals. However, I don't know if I'd be I don't know if I'd be grabbing that thing, but
not me.
But typically we do go and help anyone that needs help with whatever the animal may be, including a giant snake like that. But at the end of the day, like, we can help, we can offer assistance, we can use our nets and our cages and everything like that. But the local jurisdiction is who's going to enforce it.
Gotcha. And I know just recently too, you had the accidents with, I don't know if you saw, with the sheep.
Oh yeah, 50 on 53.
53, and the bypass there.
Yeah, so like sheep too, that would be considered, it's a domestic animal basically, because it's part of, the agricultural system. Just like that snake is part of like the pet trade and exotic world. So those don't necessarily fall under the natural resource DNR state statutes. However, with our expertise in doing this and generally just being a police officer where we can go and help if someone needs it, like we'll go out on the road and help with the sheep or the cattle or something, or we'll go help with the snake. But your local jurisdiction is gonna, or 53 might be state patrol, or the county will take care of any issues with it.
And I got to ask you, I know Dan's probably got more questions to ask you, but Jake Volks is with us from the Wisconsin DNR, and he's in here in full battle gear, so to speak. Now, you look like, I'll relate to you look like you're a transformer.
Right.
I mean, you got the
external carrier.
Can you tell us what's on this vest, or is that kind of secret?
No, it's all,
because I mean, you're prepared for anything here from the looks of it. And I'm just looking at all the pouches and everything else. What do you carry on there?
So we carry like almost the exact same stuff as that you would see with your local sheriff's department or police department. What a lot of us are using right now is called an external carrier, which is what this, army suit looking thing is. So basically what this does is it takes all my equipment off like the traditional duty belt. When you see an old movie and they got all the gear and they're running and they're holding up their belt. So this takes it off your belt, puts it on your chest, and then all the weight's now on my shoulder. So it's long term, it's better for my back and stuff like that. So it's like a health reason, but it does kind of give it that more militaristic look. But on it, we got, this is my taser right here. So we carry tasers.
Careful,
I want to see if that works.
Yes, right. So we got a taser. We got mag pouches, like extra mag pouches for our firearm. We carry a Glock pistol, handcuffs. We have a tourniquet in case ourselves or
Can I see your handcuffs? I've never. I just want to look at them up close.
You can look at them.
I see them on TV.
Don't look at me when you say that.
So there's a couple of different styles. Those are called hinge handcuffs because they hinge in the middle. These ones have chains on them.
Oh,
and then we got a baton. We got flashlights. We got.
Put them on.
Yeah. I may or may not have forgot the key today.
About the time he leaves. Oh man, that is.
Yeah,
that's
so
heavy duty stuff.
Yeah, so it's the same. That's the one thing. Sometimes when we go to like career fairs or take ride-alongs or different stuff, or just talk with members of the public, they're, why do you carry a gun? And
you do ride-alongs?
We do ride-alongs. Yeah, I do a lot of them here in Eau Claire. Actually,
I might volunteer for that.
Come on in.
Yes, I've always wanted to do a ride-along.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Put him in the back seat.
They're in the whole room.
Just don't go after snakes.
Right.
No,
we'll stick with the native animals for sure. But yeah, so we go through the same Department of Justice 720-hour training. We're certified law enforcement officers in the state. It's just, I've mentioned it to different people before, but like when you go, it's just like any other career where when you go to pick what job field you want to be in, there's like a list. You want to be with state patrol, the DNR, your local PD, your county PD, or your feds or something like that. And you just kind of pick which one you want to be a part of. Obviously I picked the DNR and enjoy it. And so we do everything, like I just mentioned, the OWI, ATV, boat, snowmobiles. We arrest people with warrants when they have them. We assist the county. And what's unique to our job is when we typically go contact people, they either have knives on them when they're fishing or guns on them when they're hunting.
That's true.
When in reality, not every day, local law enforcement has to deal with a lot more other issues every day that I don't have to. And I give them a lot of credit. But, every time we contact a hunter in the fall, they probably have a rifle, a handgun, and 3 knives on them somewhere. So we always have to be prepared because you don't know when someone's having a bad day.
Yep. That's a great point there too. I guess I never kind of realized that too. You think about it that way. So.
Yeah. So that's why we kind of look like the old Transformers here. But
ever use that taser?
I have not, luckily.
Have you ever been tased or?
Yeah, I was tased in the academy.
What's it?
What does that to me, feel like? Honestly, it felt like when I used to play. Well, I played football through my life, but in like youth football, probably like 4th grade, I remember one time I was tackled. I was running with the ball, and it hit me. It hit me in the gut, and it knocked the wind out of me so hard, like where you can't breathe, right? And that's what it felt like to me for like 5 seconds. It felt like I got that football again knocked up into my gut and I couldn't breathe. So it feels like the wind gets knocked out of you, but the second it's like they turn it off, it's done. Like there's no more pain. There's no more, the wind comes right back to you. Everything is normal. Like the second it's done, I had like no blood, no pain, no nothing after it.
Man.
So yeah, I would
watch
rather
that on TV. I think, oh man,
I'd rather be tasered 10 times to being pepper sprayed once.
Oh, really?
The OC spray or pepper spray is that stuff. I mean, if I sprayed a little right here in this room, we'd all be suffering from it for the whole day.
I remember as a kid, one of my parents sprayed it in the house to test it.
Oh, sure.
No, we all had to get out of there because it was it consumed the whole house.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was bad. I mean, even the cat was choking.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Everything.
And then so in my academy, when I got this was in my I did 2 academies. In my college academy, I got OC sprayed, and they say you either immediately try to wash it off with water or you just like tough it out, and it actually goes away quicker if you don't put water on it. But what they didn't tell you is that there's like a secondary exposure the first time you take a shower. So like I got OC sprayed. I just kind of walked around outside for a couple hours. It kind of numbed down, and then I went home. And that night I played pickup basketballs in college. And as I started playing basketball and I started sweating, all of a sudden I started getting pepper spray, like tingling on and I had to go to my dorm and shower. And I was like, oh, this is horrible,
man.
Yeah.
Hey, this is an interesting question too. Somebody had chimed in with the low water levels. Are you having to deal with stuck boats this year? Is that something that you've had to deal with at all this year?
It's nothing I've got any calls on this year, but definitely in the past, every year we typically get a few of them. I'm sure there's plenty of people that get stuck and take it on their own to figure out how to get out or push it out or get some buddies to come out and help. But especially if people get stuck close to sunset or they're really in somewhere where they have no idea where they're at, they'll give us a call and be like, hey, I'm stuck. We don't know what to do. Sometimes we go out there and pull them off so they're not there overnight, and then they'll come back with someone and get it the next day and stuff. But typically we don't go out and, if we're out on the water, we've definitely helped people push them off sandbars or pull a boat out here or there or something like that. Same with like ATVs. But we don't, our business isn't to go out and just pull your boat out. If you're like for health reasons, you need to come off, we'll come get you. Otherwise it's up to the owner of the boat to like get it out.
Have you gotten stuck yet, Bob?
No, haven't. No. But I know there are places you can.
Oh yeah, especially on those rivers. I mean, even some of the lakes. I tried on Altoona. I tried getting up the east side, up the Eau Claire River there a little bit on Saturday, and it took me 5 tries just to find the main channel. I kept bumping my boat and getting it stuck, and then trying to. It's really shallow everywhere you go,
especially with the boat landings. I got to imagine maybe backing in a little bit.
Boat landings and just sediment and different stuff around this part of the state. Yeah, the water is shallow.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, with that in this hot weather, the algae blooms are starting and stuff like that. So on Lake Altoona, they've already closed the beach a few times. And when I was out there on Saturday, it was pretty green.
Yeah,
you got that stuff in the water. It doesn't look very fun if you came out to jump in the water.
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah.
So with the 4th coming up, you kind of mentioned a little bit about it here too. But is there anything tips wise? I mean, maybe is it fireworks safety or anything like that? Is that something that you guys get called on at all? I mean, with the dry conditions though too, is there a concern with maybe some grass fires or anything? like that?
So the fireworks, they are illegal in Wisconsin. Believe it or whether you believe it or not, but we get a lot of calls on them when people take them to state properties and shoot them off, or state parks and stuff like that. Or if we're in the area when one goes off next to us and it gets called out. The main thing is that if you shoot off a firework, like you said, and you start some sort of brush fire or you do some damage or something like that, you're going to be held accountable for everything that happens the second you light that off.
Yep.
Not only about the ordinance about shooting it off illegally, but if you do start a brush fire, our forestry department, we kind of talked about it a little bit last week or 2 weeks ago. They're going to investigate, and they're going to do, they have arson training, different stuff like that. Not like that would be a, maybe not an arson, but they're going to track it back and do this, and you'll probably get cited and, held accountable for the firefighting bills and stuff like that. So it's a really good point.
Do you at the DNR, you folks have drones? Because I've talked to guys in the township fire departments.
Yeah.
And they've got drones that they can send up. And I was talking to them about fires came up, grass fires and things like that. And they said, they go talk to a landowner and say, well, I don't know how that started. I said, well, we got our drone up and we know exactly where it started.
There's
a
line going right to your burn pit right there.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
And so do you at the DNR have those, or do you work with the township fire departments? Or
we do have our own drone team. And our local drone guy is Warden Rich Mackey out of Chippewa County. So
but how big an area can one guy with one drone?
It's not... Usually you're not called out on it like every day or every couple of days. So it's a little bit more infrequent at this point. But like for any investigation like that, for any search and rescue, stuff like that, we would use them and stuff like that. And Rich just got on the team within the last year. So he's been doing a lot and stuff like that. And we have, I don't know, 10, 20 members across the state and stuff like that.
How do you use them, drones? I mean, I just alluded to fire.
Yeah.
But what else?
So we'll use them for fire, like, check in, for anything related to fire, safety and seeing where it's going and for follow-up. But we'll use them mostly right now. It's been for like search and rescue. So someone gets lost in the woods, out on the lake, or someone doesn't come back from somewhere. Get that thing up and start looking. I know some of them have like FLIR units, which is like the body heat signature, stuff like that. And then, so search and rescue, I guess just any sort of instance where like human health or human safety would be important or stuff like that is where they'd be taken out. I know they do a lot more things. I'm not on it, so I can't speak for it the best, but they do a lot. They assist other departments. And do different things with it.
I would think that'd be a lot more cost effective than trying to get a helicopter up.
Oh gosh, yeah, or a plane,
Yeah.
And a lot more of a time saver than walking through the woods. If you think someone's on the backside of this 120 acres instead of walking through the woods, if you can go over there, fly over there, and be like, oh, there they are, they're sitting in their tree stand, or they're doing this or doing that. I have heard stories of different departments and such using drones on different like SWAT raids and different stuff like that, or any sort of like standoffs where if you don't want to send a person to see like what's going on in that room, you can send a drone and take a look. And some of them have the capability of talking to people or listening and different things like that.
Yeah, it's wonderful technology.
Yeah, it's really good. There's still a lot of litigation is definitely the wrong word, but there's still a lot of gray area in the sense of they're trying to figure out what is the public space, what's private space, and drones are still managed under like the FAA, so there's certain rules on them. So a lot of times your local drone operator in the neighborhood, just some guy or gal, if they go too high or they go in an area that's restricted, stuff like that, they could actually be held on like some federal charges for just like flying their drone out of their backyard too high and stuff like that. So
that's what I was going to ask you about, something like that.
Yeah, so we don't get involved in any sort of regulatory part of drones, unless they're being used on like state properties where they strictly prohibit it. When it comes to that kind of stuff, I don't know the regulations on it, but I do encourage people, if you're going to fly a drone and you're going to get into it more, or even if it's just a little thing off your back deck, make sure you do some Googling or do some research, because you don't want to accidentally get in the way of a plane or something that you don't know is there and get in a little bit of trouble.
I have this question from somebody. It says, I know you guys have talked about fawns before in the past.
Yep.
I have one kind of hanging around. I haven't seen its mom. Is that something that I should call the DNR about, or kind of just let it play out?
The short answer is let it play out. So if the fawn is generally moving a little bit, like you come back the next morning, it might still be in your yard, but it's moved a little bit, stuff like that, that's fine. If a fawn is sitting in the exact same spot for 2, 3, 4 days and it hasn't, like, for a fact it hasn't moved, then there's something wrong with the fawn or whatnot. But generally you'll never see the mom or the doe. They go away during the day to keep the predators away. The fawns, they'll sit in your garden bed, they'll sit under your deck.
I've seen them on the golf course.
They'll sit on the golf course.
It scared the crap out of me when I walked around and there was a fawn right under a tree.
It's insane how, if they don't, they're less and less fearing us, especially in these urban settings. So if they feel like it's a safe space to sit on your back deck all day, and then the mom will come back and feed it at night. So we have very, very limited rehab facilities for deer, especially fawns. I think there's one place in the state that takes it, and they usually fill up like the first day of spring.
Right.
Yeah, we used to have one right down here by Fall Creek.
Yeah.
And John and June, and they had rehabilitate. They had bears in there.
Yep.
And everything else, and now they aged out, so to speak.
Yeah.
And couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody else has picked that facility up or not, because it was a beautiful. I went down there and watched him, and it was one of these deals where they'd feed the bears in there that they had rehabbing, but they take the food in there, but they never look at the bears.
Sure.
They never want to make eye contact because they wanted to have the bears remain in the wild. They'd be up in the trees, and it's a very interesting concept. But I know, Mike Gappa, you know Mike? He was Mr. Bear.
I've definitely heard of him.
Yeah, he was one of the foremost, and he was right here in Eau Claire with the DNR. He was Mr. Bear pretty much of North America.
Nice.
Black bear, and authority on it. And so interesting. But the rehab facilities, as you mentioned, that facility was outstanding.
Yeah.
And the White Pine, I believe they used to call it. And I don't know if it's facilities probably still there, but I don't know if they're doing any rehabs. They had deer in there, and they'd have bear in there, and then squirrels and everything else. But
yeah, I haven't brought anything down there in a while. Usually out of Colfax, Patty Stengel with Wildlife Rehab and Rehabilitation. She's a lifesaver a lot of times, and she does it a lot of work on a lot of her own dime. And I always wish she's always in that running for like that Mazda $5,000 thing they do here, where like 10 local businesses. I don't think she's won it. I definitely think she deserves it. She works really hard to support us and stuff, and support the animals and the public. The hard thing about like wildlife rehab is that it's not very well funded. There's not a lot of money coming in. They're usually doing it because it's a hobby or a something they love versus something that's going to pay the bills. And because of that, a lot of people have kind of fallen out of it, or there's just so many more restrictions now with all these different diseases and stuff traveling across the country. You can't have certain birds because of this. You can't have deer because of COVID. You can't do this. You can't do that. And I think it really, not only are you not making money then, now you can't take in certain animals. And I think it's just too much of a squeeze sometimes for some of these places. A lot of my animals, especially birds and raptors, end up, over in Minnesota at like the U of M and different places, because they'll take them and bring them back after they rehab them.
Kind of, off that, I was just kind of thinking of this, and you mentioned it too. So like deer and CWD.
Yep.
Deer farms, is there more restrictions on, like, with, because sometimes you'll see like in Menominee, there's the elk farm, or deer, and Stanley's got an elk farm and deer farm over there. Is there, like, is it with the CWD, is it kind of gotten a little bit harder to, if somebody wanted to start a deer farm, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so the regulations when it comes to deer farming have doubled in the last, I don't know how many years, but I know it's definitely a contentious topic. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I don't have any skin in the game on either side of it. My job is basically just to make sure that the permits stay up to date. If someone has a permit that's expiring, I just have to go out there and make sure they're fitting the regulations, that their fence fits cold and all that kind of stuff. But I do know they have to do a ton of testing, CWD testing. Depending on whether they travel them, bring them in, different stuff like that. So I know there's a ton of regulations. And even when I started back in 2015 out in Manitowoc County, there was already guys out there that were closing their farms down. And this one guy was closing it down and turning it into self-storage. He turned his whole deer farm into big self-storage units out there, because that's where he was finding a lot more money, was in storage units than deer. So I think it's a pretty hard industry to be in unless you're, have started it a long time ago.
And for anybody who doesn't know, for that, it'd be like, maybe like Gene's, kind of for deer farms, the big guys out there and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
For those.
Yeah.
And that elk, we've got some people that have elk farms around here that I know. And
like there's the one in Menominee I always ride by.
By the Sportsman's Club down there. And then, that big one in Stanley, or right at the park there. I forget the name of the park. Chapman Park.
Yeah, I was over at the rodeo, saw him out there.
It's pretty neat.
A friend of mine down by La Crosse has a big one, and he sells these bull elk for some big money to sell them out to game farms out west. So it's a different. Not to get off that subject, but we're getting to the 4th of July, Jake. What people are going to go camping, especially it's going to be a warm weekend. They're going to go camping. What's the status now of fires? And also, we haven't heard a lot about transporting firewood. So if I'm going up to Hayward camping from Dane County, like a lot of people do, what's the status? Is it still, if they got a trailer full of wood heading up the interstate, they can be pulled. Can they still be pulled over and it would be taken away? What's the transport of firewood situation?
Yeah, I don't have that off the top of my head, but I believe the last time I looked, like the whole state now was in basically you can't transport it more than 15 miles. And if you do, I think you either have to have some sort of permit or be part of some, a logging industry or something like that. Have these regulations and certify where it's coming from and all this kind of stuff. Long story short, the short answer is, if you're going camping somewhere, the legal thing to do is to buy it from the campground or within 5 miles. It's either, I think it's 15 miles, but I just encourage you. There's always places around these campgrounds that, local residents just have wood there.
And do we still have a lot of burning bans on?
There's still some burning bans. These rainstorms I know have knocked down some of that. But everywhere is a little bit different. So we kind of talked about it. Like there's this intensive unit and extensive unit. On the west side, we're not in any special area where you need burning permits from the DNR or the local townships, different things like that. Or you might from the local townships, excuse me. But in the intensive unit and more to the east, more to the north, there might be different rules and stuff like that. I just don't deal with it every day, so it's not.
But I know a few years ago, this was a very intensive effort.
It was because of the emerald ash borer and all that kind of stuff. And if you
moss,
if you pull into a state, I can tell you, if you pull into a state park campground, and they see your wood, or you start setting up, and you got a whole pile of wood there, that's not, because it's very evident what wood comes from the park because of how they sell it and what doesn't. Right. The rangers or the wardens are gonna come in, likely the wardens, I guess, are gonna come in. They're gonna take it. They're gonna bag it. I think we bring it to an incinerator at some point, but yeah, you can get, I think it's like a $200-300 ticket for transporting that wood just in there, utilizing it, stuff like that. So it might be a little bit more expensive, but it is the legal way to do it. It's just when you get there, buy a couple bundles of wood when you sign in, whatever, if you're in a county park system, state park system, something like that, and just play it safe. Because you're right, it's just like aquatic invasive species, so like weeds on your boat trailer, stuff like that is you can't transport any weeds. Any lake from anywhere, you can't transport anything. So the second you get that boat out of the water, and before you leave the boat launch, so you can bring it out of the way and stuff like that, is you got to get under there. You got to pull off all the weeds, and technically you're supposed to pull it off any of your gear on the inside too. Your fishing poles with duck hunters, it gets stuck in your decoys and stuff like that. So all that kind of aquatic material or vegetation needs to get out, because you never know what it is. None of us are trained AIS, scientists. So we need to take a look at that and get that out. And same with wood, same with that. Pull it all off. Don't transport anything. One, for it's legal. Two, because that is how stuff gets, these pristine lakes up north, all of a sudden is, you got all this milfoil on there. What happened there? One boat with one something on it could come in and change the whole thing.
I had a question because I've been noticing, some fawns, even roadkill. On the side there too. But I know it's something we talked about during hunting season. Like if somebody ends up hitting a big buck, they can call and get the antlers, right? What about ones in velvet? Same thing, same rule.
Yeah. So right now, any deer that you find car killed, fawn, albino, velvet, you can legally take it for free. The only thing you have to do before you leave the scene is you're supposed to call our car killed deer hotline. You'll get put in contact with either one of our hotline staff, or if it's after 10, I think you just leave a voicemail and you just tell them your name, what you got, your nearest intersection or address, and then they'll register it on your DNR account. So when I check licenses, it's 2022 buck, 2022 doe harvest, and then it'll say 2022 car killed deer authorization and stuff like that.
So you gotta have a license. Anybody can do that, right?
You can do it. You don't need a license or
Okay,
anything like that. It just needs to be registered. And when you leave, when you take it from the scene, so like if you found a Bambi on the side of the road, you could take it. You could take the whole thing. If you found a giant buck in velvet right now, you could take it. The only thing is you have to take the whole thing. You can gut them out and leave the guts, but otherwise everything else. So if you find a rotting deer and you want the antlers, you got to take the rotting deer, which is, gross, and no one's going to do it, and they might, but if you want it, you got to take it. That's part of like the rules with it.
So the follow-up to that one, the reason I asked this too is, would that be then like, okay, because not too many people are probably taking a deer to a taxidermist in June or July.
Yeah.
Would that be like the reason? I mean, it's the rule, but like taking it in and then like the taxidermist, could they look up like the registration part of it, that sort of thing? Like,
so if they're like, well, why do you have a deer in June?
Right.
It's not hunting season and, this and that. Then the taxidermist can call us and be like, hey, Jake, I got this guy that just brought in a deer. He claims it was car killed, but I don't know. Like, I don't want to work on this thing if it's illegal. And then I can go on there and call and be like, oh, yeah, he registered a car killed deer yesterday from, looks like 53 and whatever. So that's why. Plus, deer used to be a lot more regulated culturally and historically. And it used to be, I'm sure you guys know this, it used to be you had to like get in contact with a law enforcement officer that day, before you left the scene. You had to have state patrol or a county guy or a warden come out, give you a slip that says you can have this.
Yeah, when you got an 80, 90-degree day, you don't want to be
right. So now with
law.
like our new electronic system and trying to make it more accessible, and so that you can just grab the deer and go on a 90-degree day, they give you that option to do the electronic, so it's nice and quick, but you still got to do it, because if all of a sudden we got hundreds of people with hundreds of deer that are unregistered in people's houses, there's going to be a lot of questions.
Right.
And we're going to dig into that, and we might find other issues.
Right. Exactly.
Can you imagine how many people see a guy driving down in a pickup with a tailgate open and a dead deer with in velvet 8-pointer or whatever, calling the cops and say, hey, I got a guy here. How many guys get turned in that way?
We got plenty of calls every year of like, hey, this guy's got a deer. This person's picking up a deer. Why is this? Why is that? And sometimes it turns out to be, some nefarious activity, and sometimes it's just someone picking up car kills, and sometimes they register them. I've seen people with like 15 car killed registrations, and sometimes they just pick them up.
So there's no limit to how many you can pick
limit
off the road?
No, you can, if you want, you can go and take them all. I think that would help a lot of people.
There's a lot of them out there, I'll tell you that.
Of them. But you do have to have it, and I have written tickets in different circumstances for people that have taken them and never registered them. And it's just another way that if you don't register them, it's another way people can try to use that as a way to cheat the system. And
right. Yeah. Last question here. This comes from Dan on Facebook. And I think we've kind of addressed this before in the past here, but he's asking, does a person need some sort of license to, quote, take care of porcupines, skunks, squirrels, etc., that are being destructive to my property?
As a landowner, no. So as a landowner, if you, it's your land, there is a nuisance landowner law that allows you to harvest. There's like 7 main species that include raccoon and possum and rabbit and squirrels and skunks and some other unprotected species, coyotes. But then there are like unprotected species like a skunk and a porcupine fall in that. Like they have year-round seasons and different things. Sometimes you just need a small game license depending on the year, or if it's not your land or something like that. But the best thing to do is if you do have some nuisance animals, there is a big, nice page on our website about it. But otherwise, just reach out to me. My phone number is public, and just Google my name or Eau Claire Warden, or email me. And I have a lot of documentation because I talk with a lot of people with us that I can send you a bunch of info, and it'll help you see like, okay, I can kill or I can harvest these during any time of year, or I need a license for this or that. Because there are certain things like you can't nuisance kill like a fisher or a bobcat or a deer because you don't like it, because it's eating this or it's doing that.
Shoot.
Right. Or a badger, like a badger. A lot of people have like badgers and fishers that attack their chickens, and those don't fall under the nuisance rules. You can't just go out there and kill them. Even though like I got chickens, I'd want to protect them, but you have to find a different way. And sometimes if you like try to live catch them or try to like negate a reason that a fisher would be there, like get rid of all your wood piles on your property and secure your chickens better, and they're still going in, then our wildlife department can issue like kill tags for like a nuisance animal that's more protected. But generally, like skunks, porcupines, different things like that, beavers, a landowner can.
A skunk is protected?
Skunks are, well, they're part of unprotected, but they do have some different regulations. But there's a lot of unprotected species, which just puts them in a category where there's no season dates. It just makes them a year-round huntable species and stuff. But it's weird because you can kind of be unprotected, but you can have some rules, but you can be protected, but have, like coyotes, which is year-round. So the best thing to do is either contact your local warden or do what I've mentioned probably every time we've talked ever, is open those regulations. They're in there. There's a lot of info in those combined regs on this topic, like landowner abilities, and just take a dig through that and see what you find.
Yeah, I had a raccoon staring at me at the end of my driveway the other morning.
Oh,
at 4
yeah?
o'clock. Scared the crap out of me.
Oh,
and I
I
went down
bet.
the sewer.
Yeah, that's where I came home from work at like 2 a.m. the other day, and there's one kind of by my chickens, and it just ran into the culvert, and I'm like, I'm gonna see you again.
You might have to use that taser. Right?
Yeah, right.
I'm a warden first, but a chicken owner second.
Right.
Sometimes I have to battle it too.
Hey, you got to protect your family, protect your flock, right?
Okay, so before I let you go, any last with the fourth, like fishing wise, or any last tips or anything like that you want to give everybody?
Yeah, when it comes to like fishing, most everything's open. Just always, wherever you're going, check the local regulations, because it's something on the west side of the state versus the east side of the state, and depending on the species can be totally different. We're in the ceded territory here for walleye, so our walleye in the Chippewa River, those are even different than everywhere else in the state. So just wherever you're going on vacation, wherever you're going fishing, make sure you check the regs. If you're going out on a boat, make sure it's registered, make sure you have a life jackets. If you don't have life jackets, you're out on the boat, you're going to get a ticket from I'd say 9 out of 10 wardens for sure, unless there's some some circumstances. We have a lot of discretion. We're not there just to write tickets. We give lots and lots of warnings in our job, and typically if you're getting a ticket from a warden, it's there's a reason for it, right? Because we give a lot of warnings. So just make sure you have all that kind of stuff ready to go before you go out, so you don't get to the boat launch. You're like, oh no, my boat's not registered. Oh no, I don't have a fire extinguisher. Oh no, I don't have this. And then furthermore, just the whole OWI stuff that we talked about when I first got here is, it's not that hard to find sober drivers or someone sober on the boat. I'd say most of our OWI arrests, there is a sober person on the boat. It's usually someone that doesn't want to drink, or they only had a drink that night, but the boat owner is always the one that wants to drive their boat.
Yeah.
This is exact weekend, the exact week where there's going to be more sheriff's departments out, more wardens out, more law enforcement out in general, just like on the road. And you're going to be checked, and you're going to get run through SFSTs. And if you're drunk, you're drunk, and you're going to go to jail that night. So find a sober driver and just be safe, because, we want everyone to go out and have a good night and wake up, happy or hungover or however, but we want them to wake up the next day,
not in a jail cell.
Not in a jail cell, exactly.
Well, you be safe though too, man.
I will. I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you for coming in and hanging out with us for a little while too.
Yeah, it's always fun coming in here.
Just tase Bob on
borrow
your way
that
out.
taser
well,
for the very least.
Yeah, it'll fall out of my carrier when I leave.
Jake, appreciate it, buddy, as always. We got to take a quick break, and we'll be back to wrap up things here this morning after these quick words.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
Suffer a sports injury or know someone who has and you don't know who to turn to? Rely on the experience of the sports medicine team at Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. When you experience any sports-related injury or issue, you could count on Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine on prompt, proper diagnosis and customized treatment plans to meet your goals. When it comes to getting back on the field of play, get back on there with the best team in the area. Request an appointment with Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine today by visiting cvosm.com.
Service Master of Chippewa Valley is your local expert when it comes to fire and water damage, carpet and air duct cleaning, mold remediation, and trauma. They're when you need them 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Trust comes in the yellow truck. Learn more at ServiceMasterChippewaValley.com.
Hunters, are you looking for a brand new firearm to take with you to the woods? Or maybe you want to save a little money and are looking at getting a high quality used firearm? Whatever the case may be, if you're looking for a rifle for, say, deer hunting or shotgun for your turkey hunting adventures, look no further than Tilden Gun. Tilden Gun features a wide selection of new and used firearms. And if you're looking for a particular firearm, Tilden Gun will help you find that firearm for you. And plus, they have a wall of handguns for you to check out as well. And you know you're going to need some ammo, targets, cases, scopes, and other accessories too. Well, Tilden Gun has all the accessories you need to properly outfit your firearm to hit the woods. Tilden Gun has the biggest selection, all at the best prices in the Chippewa Valley. So here's what you do. You could visit tildengun.com to see what all Tilden Gun has to offer. And you can stop by Tilden Gun and check out their amazing shop and see what they all have in store. Visit Tilden Gun today at 12427 98th Avenue, Chippewa Falls.
The Shoe Doctor is known for quality footwear. Remember, the Shoe Doctor can keep your feet comfortable during all the different outdoor weather and activities here in the Chippewa Valley. Work boots, casual shoes, sandals, and more from brands you trust like Keen, Merrill, Chaco, and Dansko, and that's just to name a few. Located on Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, you can also visit them online at ShoeDoctorFootwear.com. The Shoe Doctor, quality footwear for work, sport, and fun.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm no Bob Vila or even Tim the Toolman Taylor. So when it comes to home improvement projects, I'm comfortable in admitting that I'm not the smartest tool in the shed. That's why when it comes to big home projects, I need someone I can trust to complete these projects for me and do a job well done. That's why I fully trust the team at Carpet City Flooring Center. See, we've got some big flooring projects coming up for our home. I wouldn't even know where to begin with the whole process if it wasn't for everyone at Carpet City Flooring Center. They're helping me pick out the flooring that looks best in our home, fits in our budget, and they're doing the measuring because me and math don't get along, and of course, professionally installing it. No poor looking floors like some of the floors in my home already look like because of the previous owners. So if you are just like me and you need just a little or a lot of help when it comes to your flooring projects, don't stress it. Make it easier on yourself and visit the good people at Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. They're located at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue.
If Culligan isn't treating your home's water, you likely have water problems all around you, like hard-to-clean chalky residue on your shower, faucets, and bath, stains around your sink drains, spots on your dishes and glassware, plus dull, dried-out hair and skin, and problems you don't see, like scaly buildup in the water heater and pipes. But have no fear, you're in the clear with Culligan Products and Service. For all your residential and commercial water filtration needs,
visit CulliganH2O.com for your local Culligan water dealer.
Get ready to save half with half-off deals. A great way for you to get goods and services that you will love, and you don't have to pay full price. Start saving this Friday, June 30th, with Wisconsin Makers Market. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save with this week's half-off deals. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
Everybody has pivotal moments that they remember, like where were you when this happened? Ball went through Bill Buckner's legs, or the first time I saw Michael Jordan fly through the air. Maybe when you graduated college, or the first time your family vacationed at the beach. A lot of them are captured on old VHS tapes or photos, but they're fading, falling apart, and you're at the risk of losing them forever. Legacy Box professionally digitizes your old tapes to the cloud, safely archiving them, ready to watch and share. We've used Legacy Box here on the show. Safe, easy, simple, professional. Load your Legacy Box with tapes, film, pictures, audio. Send them in. In no time at all, they convert them to digital. With Legacy Box, you can save and replay the highlight reels of your life. Visit legacybox.com/Patrick for a limited time. Get 40% off your order. That's legacybox.com/Patrick.
He might not have a badge, but we have faith in his killer instinct. Celebrate the 10th anniversary of famed detective priest, Father Brown. Stream the new season now, only on BritBox.
That sounds like a marvelous plan.
Plus, watch even more unofficial detectives in much-loved series, including Agatha Christie's Marple, Murder in Provence, and more. Expect intriguing mystery. Expect the Undetectives. Start streaming today at BritBox.com.
Not only can you listen to your favorite radio show in the world, but now you can watch why everyone says Dan has a face for radio. Watch the Dan Kasper Show live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
All right, just a few minutes left. Big thanks to Jake for stopping by as always, and
always
educating
informational.
us.
You know, the one thing I like about Jake is he is here, and I think DNR agents, for the most part, they get a bad rap, but just those three letters are, like a
well, it's like the
red
Uber
to a-
songs,
it's
30-point buck. It's
yeah,
like,
it's like a red flag in front of a bull type of thing. But like you said, we're not here to write citations. We're here to make sure your boating adventure, your hunting adventure goes well. And if there are a few people, bad apples out there, they're trying to sort them out. So, but again, enjoy, like you said, enjoy the 4th of July holiday, but do it right. Don't be hauling wood across the state, and be careful of campfires, and don't overly drink on the boat, things like that, and have a good weekend.
And how many people would say, call me if you have a question?
Yeah,
like he publicly says, just call me.
My
he wants
number's
to
there.
answer those questions.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but big thanks to Jake for that. That's always appreciate him hopping up on every Thursday to answer your questions. Once in a while we'll have questions, but the majority are coming from you, the listeners out there. And when Bob's got to find out if he's violating anything or not.
Every time I take bird seed out to my bird feeder, I think, oh, gee, am I breaking the law here or not?
Oh man. So Brewers, I'm surprised I get it, it's not far from Mets and Pittsburgh and all that, but it's another night game tonight, so it's not like a day game for the final game of the series. But Hauser on the mound, getting the start. Max Scherzer.
What's Woodruff? Where's Woodruff? How far?
He's getting
out?
close.
What's the latest?
He's getting close. The other day, he threw another bullpen session, and if that was all going to go well, it sounded like it was going to progress to the next steps. But I would think probably after the All-Star break now at this, no reason to rush it. And with it's coming up on the 10th already, All-Star break. So,
and I'm happy with Woodruff out, Burns performing the way he is. I'm happy where the Brewers are in the standings. I think they're being very competitive with the talent they have available, and maybe it says more about the division than anything else. But I'm happy. It's a competitive. As long as you got a chance, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, he Woodruff. This was a couple days ago. Successful bullpen for Woodruff. He will continue throwing bullpens through the All-Star break in Milwaukee. He feels like he's moved past the injury, but due to the nature of the buildup, couldn't commit to pitching in a big league game by the end of July. So it sounds like the injury's recovered, but again, it's the buildup and ready to go and that sort of thing. So,
well, if he comes back over the injury, he's not worn out, obviously. His arm isn't going to be overtaxed. So hopefully for the stretch run, July, whatever it is, he comes back, August, September, and hopefully through October, maybe he'll be the horse on that staff.
Well, another pitching update too, Aaron Ashby.
I haven't heard about him in a while.
Yeah, because it sounded like he was going to be done for the year, maybe not September, but maybe actually a little bit earlier. He is expected that he will rejoin the team and begin throwing bullpens following the All-Star break. Now the Brewers haven't determined whether because initially he was going to be, set up for a starter in spring training and such, but we'll see where that's going to be at this point. But maybe Ashby returning a little bit sooner than what was expected under there too. So maybe more relief, more support coming that way too. So I know Eric Lauer is still dealing with some stuff over there too, but Woodruff, I think everybody's anxiously waiting to come back.
And I think, as a Brewer fan, I'm hoping the All-Star break revitalizes guys like Adames, got hit in the head, and I don't know if he's playing, but performance isn't where I think he wants it to be either. And Rowdy Tellez, some of these guys kind of reconfigure their season and come back and offer a little bit more input, because Rowdy Tellez has been disappointment the last month and a half. Big time disappointment.
Yeah. How about this? This is from Paulie Paps, who's on the Dan Patrick Show, but he just tweeted these baseball numbers out. So the Mets, they're in 4th place. They have been outscored by 17 runs this season. All that money spent, they've been outscored 17 runs. The first place Reds have been outscored by 16 runs. The first place Guardians have been outscored by 6 runs. Padres, Mariners have outscored opponents by 20 or more runs, yet they're in 4th place. Dude, baseball is just a weird sport.
Yeah, it is. It is.
The only team in the NL Central with a positive run differential is the Cubs.
And they're what, 3rd place?
3rd place.
Yeah.
3rd place. And it's just weird. And how many times we talk about payrolls? The teams that we went through with the payrolls, how many of those right now are playoff teams? A couple. Mets aren't right now.
Yeah.
Texas is doing. Yankees are kind of. We'll see.
Yeah, they're shaky
a little bit here. Aaron Judge injury ain't helping with his toe injury, but. And then you got Tampa Bay, who's second to the bottom, only behind Oakland, and they're probably baseball's best team right now. So, funky sport. That's why we like it, right?
How important is your front office?
Bingo.
Talent evaluate. And I like to find out, we talked about this earlier, but I like to find out how many of these teams actually still have scouting staffs where they eyeball players, and how many of them rely, and I think they all to somewhat do that, and how many rely more on the numbers, on these metrics that they put together, and don't look at the player, look at his numbers, be it pitchers or hitters or whatever the case may be, and then see where they are in relation to the standings, relation to their salary structure, things like that, because baseball's changed.
It absolutely has. So, all right. So we only got about a couple minutes left here. So you're going to pour yourself one more. Are you going to go play barkeep now?
Well, I might. I'm going to have one more.
Because I say that's
raspberry.
That's
wine.
the most that is left in that bottle
well, I haven't
in the
had
last
a chance
few
to
weeks.
get out here.
A little bit here.
Probably breaking the rules of my diet.
Yeah. Well, it's natural. It's
well, that's
homemade.
true. That's
so
true.
It's all it's from Mother Earth.
That's right.
Right.
Well, you have a good week. I know you're taking a vacation next week.
Yep.
Lock up the wiener putter, because that's a valuable commodity.
I'll put it in my office,
there's only one of a kind.
What if I eBay? Can I eBay it really quick? See if there's anything on there. See
I
what
don't
it's
care.
worth. I just want to see if it's.
If it's worth anything?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Let's see what. Really
Remember, it's mine if it is.
I
don't think there are a whole lot of them in circulation. Oscar Mayer wiener putter.
Okay. Why did everything
I
come
don't
up
even
with
know-
Oscar the Grouch?
I don't even know if they even have something like that listed.
I don't think they do.
No, I don't think so.
No.
But one of a kind, folks. We'll start taking bids. We'll start at 4 figures.
There's nothing really popping up on eBay in my really quick search here. So
we've got a one of a kind here, buddy.
I don't really want to type in wiener putter on there, and then engineering's going to be giving me a call. So
Everybody have a good, safe 4th of July.
Well said. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Have a good rest of your day. We'll talk to you then.